Here we are, ladies and gentlemen. It's QuadJacks coverage here of the 10K 8-game high roller 400K guaranteed, Marco. We're joined by you, Marco. And, Marco, good job. We have Eric Crain, who's a very successful poker player, Marco, who should be able to help us out covering this table. What do you say?
What, are you talking to me?
No, the other Marco on the line.
Because I don't know if you said Marco enough times for me to really get the idea.
Marco?
Yes, welcome Mr. Crain to QuadJacks TV. I do believe this is your first time.
This is my first time. I'm breaking my QuadJacks virginity, and it's nice. I like it a little bit rough, and you've been good so far.
Yes, we've been pretty rough. Now, Mr. Crain, won't you please introduce yourself to our listeners? Tell us a little bit about your background in poker, your accomplishments, how you fared in today's action, in today's tournaments, and you know, some of us may remember. Were you not a draftee in the QJ250?
I was drafted by. Actually, I don't remember who. I might have been drafted by Adrian. Mm-hmm. Somebody had me on their team, and I mean, whoever had me, I really apologize because I did a very good job of blanking the World Series this year, but you know, cash games were good, and you know, and I came up. I actually just got to Canada. I just moved up here last week to play in the WCOOP and play a little bit, and it's been good so far. I played this 10-game or the 8-game 10K, and I was the chip leader with about 30 left, and then I didn't make a single dime, but I did gain 5 Twitter followers, so that's really exciting.
Okay, well, let's see if we can get you a little bit. If we can get you a little bit more Twitter followers tonight. I've got the tweet already from the QuadJacks account, on which we have almost 6,000 followers. Eric.
Yes.
It says final table, link to QuadJacks TV, hashtag WCOOP-64 at RealKidPoker, at Jason Mercier, at Scott _Seiver, at Professor Ben with live commentary by at Eric Crain. Yes, your handle comes last, but in the next tweet I promise to put it right before all the others. And for those of you who are listening, who would do us, if you want to showcase your gratitude, to Eric especially, find that tweet, find that QuadJacks.com tweet, follow Eric at Eric Crain, okay? And retweet, okay? Retweet the QuadJacks, and let's get him some action. You know, let's get him some Twitter follows. So you have 68. You've begun your QuadJacks TV stint with 678 followers. Guys, let's show Mr. Crain what we can do for him by the end of the evening.
I just put that in chat, Marco. The link is in chat. And again, why don't you tell everybody that's listening and not in our chat, Marco, to join us?
Yeah, you just did. If you're listening but you're not in our chat, why don't you go ahead and join us into chat? You will notice that right underneath the screen is a chat box. Is this, you know, upright rectangular looking thing? Look at the bottom. It says Twitter or Facebook. It's a very social media friendly chat box. QuadJacks is a very social media friendly avenue. So if you have a Twitter or Facebook, which most of you should have either one, sign in via one of those. It's completely safe. You know, we won't spam you or anything like that. So just sign in, and I'm signed in there. What's going on in chat, by the way? Let me look. And by the way, the action has resumed. Okay, so here we go. So, Eric, thanks so much for making time for us today for this 8th game. Now, I want you to help me understand a couple of things. First of all, you know, what are the 8 games of the 8th game for the donks among us?
The first game you're going to start out with is Deuce to 7 Triple Draw, which is the game that pretty much crippled me today. Then you're going to the Horse, Hold'em, Omaha High-Low, Raz, Stud, and then Stud High-Low. And then you go into No Limit Hold'em and Pot Limit Omaha. And as always, you're going to find a lot of people in these who don't know what they're doing with the Stud game, so they're going to play bigger in the Omaha or the No Limit, and then vice versa, of course. So, yeah, it's a lot of fun.
I mean, it takes, you know, I know this, well, listen, I know this is also a high roller, so fewer people are going to be signing up. But, you know, you look at something like, what was it, 93 people who signed up today. I mean, this is clearly a game which attracts a certain kind of poker player, right?
It attracts everybody with an ego, you know, because everybody says, oh, I want to be the best at every game. So obviously, there's a 10K high roller 8 game. So everybody who has an ego about their overall poker ability is going to go out of their way to play in this tournament.
just
and
because
I guess people who are good too. But
okay, just because I said that we're a social media friendly program, Hussein Sajwani says at QuadJacks.com, can you ask Mr. at Eric Crain to give a shout out to the Chicago Cubs, pretty please?
Oh wow, that would be painful because I live in St. Louis and we actually can't see the Cubs while we're on our high horse.
Okay, I'm sorry. I think maybe if the Cubs are listening, I hope they appreciated that as a shout out. And I hope that
I actually know Hussein. I put him in a couple tournaments in Chicago, and he won a circuit ring for me. So,
all right. Well,
thanks,
listen,
buddy.
Hussein. Thanks for listening, which is what I hope you're doing. And if not, well, it doesn't matter because you're not listening to me anyway. Okay, so getting back to the 8 game. I mean, I think it's interesting how you said, if you suck at one game, you're going to like compensate for it in some of the others. I mean, how would that work?
Well, an example would be in I think it was 2008. I made the final table of the 2508 game at the World Series, but at the time I didn't have a lot of experience playing the stud games. And what I found as we went deeper into the tournament is that I was at a huge disadvantage in the stud games. So, and I also induced the 7. And so what I would do is we got deeper and deeper as I found myself forcing the action more no limit and pot limit Omaha because I knew I wasn't going to be able to, to get chips playing the games where I was at a disadvantage. So it's really important to kind of know yourself and know what your strengths are and what your weaknesses, and also the strengths and weaknesses as far as games go with the other guys that you're playing.
Is it okay, or would you recommend that someone who maybe is passable by 8 game standards, or passable by high roller standards, passable in 6 of the 8 games, okay, and maybe is a little lacking in 2 of them, would you say that it's okay to take a stab in a tournament that has otherwise good value, or do you just need to have a solid command of all 8?
If you don't have solid command of all 8, you're going to be playing at a big disadvantage, which I found out years ago, so I really went out of my way to learn the stud games and learn the deuce games. I mean, it depends on the buy-in. If you're playing a World Series event, that's a 2,800 buy or 2,500 buy-in, and there's 1,000 people in it. Well, then hell, you're fine playing whatever you want because everybody else is going to be bad enough. If you're playing in the 10K or 8 game high roller, if you're good in 6 of the 8 games, you're probably drawing dead.
Okay. Now, but it's okay to be better at some than others.
Yeah. I mean, it's like I have my best games. My best games would be Limit Hold'em, Omaha High Low, and No Limit. I'm still weak in some of the stud games, and I'm definitely weak in PLO. I just kept repeating during the PLO rounds, don't play a big pot, don't play it. So obviously I did and lost half my stack, but it worked for a while.
Well, listen, Eric. Knowing, keeping all of this in mind, you said earlier you played this tournament. Did we talk about how you fared in it yet?
I was pretty much there started with 90-something people. From about 80 people on, I was the chip leader until there were about 30 left. I played a few hands. I probably tried to win the tournament a little bit too early. I'd love to say, I sat here and I ran like shit. I tried to win the tournament too early, overplayed some hands, and then toward the end I missed a few deuce to 7 hands. And in these kinds of tournaments, deuce to 7 triple draw plays bigger than any other game. So it's just, if you're missing hands in that game, you're just kind of screwed.
Okay. All right, let's look at this final table. And once again, thank you so much for joining us this evening. Eric, I hope you're comfortable. It looks like it's going to be fun. I mean, this is an excellent final table. We have, I would say, 4 notables, at least to my knowledge. I know that Kid Poker is Daniel Negreanu. I know that gunning for you is Scott Seiver. I know that Jason Mercier is obviously Jason Mercier. I know that BensBenz is Ben Yu, who actually has been a commentator with us this WCOOP just at the very beginning. Now, I know that RealAndyBeal purports to be the RealAndyBeal. I know who Andy Beal is, but who is RealAndyBeal?
It's Niki Jedlikka, or how is it pronounced? He used to be a full tilt pro.
Okay.
Niki Jedlikka. I don't know. I can't pronounce the name. I was actually told how to pronounce it about 10 minutes ago, and it's. I learned it, so.
Nice. Okay. Can you? Here we go. Niki Jedlikka.
That works.
Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah.
What about Gozoboro?
I have no idea. You can
no idea about Gozo?
No, I didn't even play with him this tournament. I played with Gunning for You early, and Gunning for You and I were both the chip leaders pretty much throughout the early and middle parts. Then at my last table, I played with Daniel and Ben, and I actually lost most of my chips to both of those guys. So, okay. Now I have to sit here and watch them play poker, which it's a little sad. I'm not going to lie. And
be on Pokerstars. Well, listen, I wouldn't be surprised if some of these guys at least are listening. I mean, word gets out that QuadJacks streams these things, and I would actually expect that an up-to-date poker player knows when people are watching him and when he's got away. I mean, Negreanu has actually been on the air with us as he was playing in one of these tournaments. We had to put a stop to that. But, and thank you if you're listening and playing this final table, guys. Good luck to everyone. So tell us, I mean, I'm not going to ask you to give us a synopsis of each player, but based on what you know about their games, and based on how you've played against them and how you've seen them play today in this 8th game, what is your assessment of some of these guys? Who do you see as a favorite, and who do you see as maybe having to get a little luckier?
I mean, I don't know if Niki is if he's a mixed player. I know he was like a really big PLO and a really big no limit player back in the day. I have no idea if he's any good at mix. I played a lot of cash with Jason last night. We were playing a lot of 100, 200, 8 game, and he, Jason's always playing well and running well, so it's pretty good to be Jason Mercier. Scott Seiver was winning a lot last night and playing really well. Daniel, I hadn't played with him in a couple years, but he still does like the calling a lot in the no limit games, and he plays a lot different than everybody else does. Mm-hmm. But obviously he's one of the best on the planet. So, and then Ben, I only played with a little bit, and he plays fine. And I haven't played with Gozoboro, but the thing is, if you're making it through this field, I find it very hard to believe you're behind the 8 ball in any of the games, because it's a deep field. The stack started out pretty deep, so it's really tough to get through a field like this and just be lucky.
Okay. Makes sense. At this point, I would like to welcome back to the panel, excuse me, Eric, while I make the introductions, Benny, our friend Benny from the UK. Hello, Benny. Welcome back.
Hey, Marco.
Hi. Benny, it's, what time is it now over there? I'm going to say about 5 in the morning.
Yep, 5 a.m.
Okay, so Benny, our friend from Southampton, who's up at 5 in the morning, or has been up until 5 in the morning to join us for this final table. Now, Benny, you are a, what should we call you? A low stakes, maybe mid stakes pro, you were telling us?
Yeah, that's pretty fair, yeah.
Okay. But you have a good understanding of a lot of poker games, do you not?
Yeah, I play quite a lot of 8 game cash.
Okay, so wonderful. I think it'll be good to have you on this evening as a more fitting compliment to Eric than I, because I play none of these games. Now, Eric, meet Benny. Benny, meet Eric.
What's going on, Benny?
Eric.
Now, listen.
I got a question for Ben. What are you doing up at 5 in the morning?
Well, kind of work, kind of watching his final table.
Okay. I just can't imagine. When I was flying into Canada and I had to wake up at 6 in the morning, and it was maybe the most miserable I'd ever been. So,
Here's the thing, Eric. I mean, I know that in Canada everyone's a little bit more stuck up, but doing live commentary on QuadJacks TV is actually an international distinction in the poker world. So people have gone without sleep, they've starved themselves, they've walked out on their friends and families. Not that we recommend or condone any of these sacrifices, but I think that you should know that before passing judgment.
I not only know, but I appreciate that.
Okay. No, but seriously, Benny, what the hell's wrong with you?
Oh, thanks, Marco. Jeez.
Okay.
Hey, take it easy, Marco. That comment about stuck up in Canada, I don't take kindly to that.
Yes. Well, there you go. You've proven my point by that intervention, Zach.
Hey, and listen, 3 Canadians at this final table.
Oh, yeah?
Gunning for You, Jason Mercier, and Kid Poker.
You know what? I did not think that either Gunning for You nor Jason were Canadian. Are they in Canada? Is what you mean?
They are listed as Canadians.
Okay, so they're in Canada, is what you're talking about.
I don't even think they are, though. I think Mercier's in Malta, and I think Gunning for You is in France, but they're listed as Canadian players, and Benjamin Yu is Mexican.
Yes, that's true. Now listen, Benny, can you give us? Have you been railing this table? And I think you have, because we've been streaming it all day here on QuadJacks.tv. Yeah. So you tell us a little bit about what you think about some of these guys.
Well, I was just going to shed a bit of light on Niki Jedlikka. Yeah, it's Jedlikka, by the way.
Jedlikka,
yeah, he was...
I'll forget that again in 10 more minutes, but I'll remember it for now.
Yeah, he, as you said, he was an FTP pro, and he did play quite a lot of the high-stakes 7 game, like the 1500 3K. And I think he was quite a big winner there, as well as the PLO. So, yeah, not surprising he's done well here. And Gozoboro is rumored to be Harrington 10.
Oh, wow, okay.
According to Luke Schwartz and another person, or another couple of people.
You know what? It's funny. I was just looking at that earlier today, Benny. I was actually looking for Gozoboro on Twitter, seeing if this guy's on Twitter, you know. And the only result that came up was a tweet by Luke Schwartz, full flush, kind of accusing Jared Blesnick of being Gozoboro.
It's kind of weird, though, because he thinks that Gozoboro is Harrington, and also Longer Pig is Harrington, which is another Stars player. And both Gozoboro and Longer Pig played in this tournament. So if they're both Harrington, that's a bit weird.
Well, but, you know, just earlier today, we were, I had to go back on, not that I started the rumor, but in the beginning, Negreanu was seated at the same table with Raise Once, who I think has been confirmed to be Phil Ivey. And at the same table was a person by the name of Pat Patman. And there's some, you know, literature out there on the forums and such that suggests that
it's just speculation.
Right.
Yeah, we went over this. I'm pretty sure I know.
But for a while, I was perpetuating the myth because obviously it's better for QuadJacks TV if we can say that people can watch a table with Negreanu, Dwan, and Ivy. But then I went back and had to say, once it was confirmed to me that it wasn't, I had to say, you know, sorry, it's not. But you should still tune in.
Right, fair enough. Yeah, publicity's good.
What do you think? Eric? Now you have a pretty good relationship with most of these guys, don't you?
I know some of them a lot. I kind of travel with Brett Ritchie, John D'Agostino. We're all pretty close. I don't know. I know Jason a little bit. I've played with Scott before. I don't know all of them all that well, to be honest.
I was going to put out a tweet and say, like, half of the crew, if we're still making fun of that sort of thing, half of the clique that's going to kill poker is seated at this table. You remember that?
Yeah, you should have seen the chat at the other table. They were going crazy with that.
Oh, really?
In the rail, they also had Vanessa and Liv Barry in the rail. And they were like, the gang's all here. Let's get t-shirts and stuff.
Oh, that's excellent.
Apparently, Daniel's making KPC t-shirts, Kill Poker Crew. So we can look forward to that.
Hey, listen, Eric, tell us a bit about your setup right now. I was looking at a picture you tweeted earlier about the view you had grinding today's WCOOP.
It's the single most beautiful view I've ever seen. You know, I'm up here over at, you know, I kind of got moved into Talon Chick's house. So, like, I'm, you know, they just bought this house over in Peachland, and I'm just, you know, you got mountains in the background. We're right on the lake. It's a super peaceful, safe neighborhood. It's just like the, you know, if you ever wanted to relax and you could set up, you know, okay, this is what I want to design as a place to relax in, this is what you would pick.
Wow.
It's great.
Where are you originally from, Eric?
I am from the booming metropolis of Murfreesboro, Illinois, which I promise you nobody on this radio feed has heard of, but it's I'm about 2 hours east of St. Louis.
Okay. And listen, like, how long have you been away to Canada? Just for the WCOOP?
About 2 weeks.
Okay, so
leagues, and I'm going to kind of go back and forth, and
yeah.
But then again, I'm very quickly falling in love with it up here. So who knows how long I'm going to stay?
Okay, I was going to ask you, like, after, I mean, I take it you're one of these Black Friday casualties. After Black Friday, how much have you had to find yourself moving?
I actually haven't moved at all. I really haven't been playing online. I kind of I traveled live a little bit. I played on some of the less safe US sites, and I've actually, and this is going to sound really corny, but I just kind of spent a lot of time, kind of collecting myself, and it's important to me to find other stuff that I enjoy doing. So I'm just now kind of getting back into playing higher stakes and playing higher tournaments, and I'm going to be traveling a little bit more, and I miss it, but at the same time, it's been a very different lifestyle to what I was used to, which of course was sitting on the computer and grinding tournaments 60 hours a week.
No, that's listen, that's not corny at all. I mean, what kind of cold technocracy do we live in if you can't have some moments to yourself to do some soul analysis? Okay, guys, but let's not get too romantic. Now, let's talk about this table. I don't see. I mean, if left to myself, I will change the subject because I'm unqualified to comment on the hands we're seeing, and I'm hoping that this is why we brought on Benny as well, and thank you also, Benny, for agreeing to join us, Eric. Which is that I was hoping you guys could actually comment on some of this action. Now, I would like to leave with this outgoing thought before I let you guys do some of the conversation, which is, am I correct in assuming that there's some of these games, the blinds change according to what game it is, don't they?
I think the blinds in the games change every half hour, if I remember right. Yeah.
No, I think. Do you mean the limits between the games?
The limits change, and the games are changing every. No, the games change every 15 minutes, and the limits change every half hour.
Yeah, and the no limit and PLO blinds are about a quarter of the limit big bets.
Yeah, which is standard. That's how it is in the cash games as well.
Yeah,
and of course it gets a little silly because it depends on the table you're at, but a lot of times the no limit and PLO will just play so big compared to the limit portion. So you really got to be careful to not to go too nuts in a tournament in the PLO.
Yeah.
Now listen, this is Limit Omaha, high-low. Based on these blinds, who's in a bad spot?
Well, Jason and Scott are going to play really well. Daniel's going to see a lot of flops, so I think what you're going to end up seeing is Jason opening a lot and Daniel floating a lot. Like, Daniel's going to bet out here, and just because he's betting out here, it doesn't mean that he has to have like a flush or a wheel or something. In these tournaments, you're going to get paid off a lot lighter, especially in 08. So, I mean, he can bet, like if, for instance, on that board that was ace 9 6 3 2 with 3 diamonds, he can bet a 9 6 4 a lot of the time because he's going to have 2 pair and a live 4, which is usually going to be good for at least half.
Okay.
But I mean, obviously Ben's in trouble because he's got so many less chips than everybody else. And Daniel, like for instance, this hand right here, you're gonna in cash games, you'll see that flop check raised a lot to a button raiser because the assumption is that the button raiser is going to have low cards, so you're going to get check raised a lot more often if it comes high. And Ben had it there, but
that's a nice bump, sure.
Sick flop there. Okay. So it's nice seeing the multimillionaires complaining.
And the next game that we have to look forward to in 7 minutes. What?
I was just going to say, Daniel said he had nuts with diamonds, so I assume he had ace-king with diamond redraw, and Ben got there on a turn.
Yeah, so the plan is just to raise the turn, and then the board paired, and he just abandons it and pays it off.
Yeah, might want to say that's quite a common limit play to raise the turn there, because the bet's double on turn.
Yep.
Just for any beginners.
But I mean, it's good discipline by Daniel not raising anyways, because a lot of people, even the high limit cash will still just barrel off on the turn, not realizing that the board paired. And Jason's in there with the king 7 deuce. You can always count on Jason to play really well, and then when he's playing less than stellar hands, he's still going to get there every time. So that's how Jason Mercier makes money.
I keep seeing this.
Eric, and I know, like I said earlier, I'm not in a position to be able to judge from a poker perspective. But yes, there's this idea that Jason just runs, impossibly well. I mean, at what point, how much of it is just a fun gag that people can have a laugh over, and how much of it is actually an absurd anomaly of long-term variance going his way?
It's 95% a fun gag. He's very clearly one of the 5 best players on the planet.
Okay.
I mean, that's just... I mean, he's been one of the biggest winners in every single game, whether it's online, whether it's live cash, whether it's tournaments. He just crushes it. So, you know.
So obviously, when he runs badly or, very rarely plays badly, we don't notice. And we don't talk about it. And every time he runs well or plays even better, people remark upon it.
Yeah, well, like that hand where he showed up with the King 7 deuce. I mean, he was in the blind, and there's a good chance that by showing that hand down, it's going to get him paid more often in the future. The thing is, I would imagine that everybody playing at this table has a ton of mixed hands with each other. I know Scott and Jason are playing every day on Stars, and I know Daniel shows up at like the 1K, 2K, 8 game from time to time. So, I mean, these guys know what each other's doing, and... you don't see these guys playing heads up. These guys are, they're the best of the best, and everybody knows it. So yeah, everybody gives Jason shit for running hot, but
you may want to look at this hand.
The one going on right now.
Well, you said that the guys have a lot of hands between each other, and Seiver seems pretty short. Yeah.
All right.
What happened here, Benny?
Well, the ace counterfeited Jason's low, or was going to be low, but he caught top 2 pair instead, and, well, it's just checked down.
I'm a little surprised Jason bet the river, because Scott is raising.
I don't think he did. I think he checked the river, didn't he?
Yeah, well, that's what I mean. I'm a little surprised Jason didn't bet the river.
Oh, right.
Because, I mean, at that point, it's unlikely Scott's in there on the button with a Jack 10, and if Scott had diamonds, you would have heard from him earlier in the hand. So at that point, I mean... Aces and kings are almost always ahead for the high, and then there's a small... actually, there's no chance that Scott, if he makes some weird low, is going to fold. But at the same time, if Scott has aces and queens or aces and sixes or something, like, let's say, for instance, Scott had an ace 3 as well. So they're both drawn to the same low. But Scott ends up making aces and sixes. Well, he's always paying off there, just praying that he's going to get half. Yeah. So I'm really surprised that Jason didn't bet that river, because... you're almost ahead there. It's over 90% of the time that you're going to be ahead, at least for half on that river. And you can get called really light because you're Jason Mercier.
Yeah.
Very good, Eric. I can tell you're going to be very good at this.
Well, I got sometime. I've got my training wheels on and my sippy cup, and I'm going to try and get through it.
Nice.
Okay, Benny, step up, man. There you go. Ask questions.
I was just going to ask Eric, what's his screen name on Stars?
Jacks 101, JKZ101.
Oh, right, you. Oh, yeah, I was watching your table earlier. So,
yeah, I'm that asshole, sorry.
No, that was quite funny what you saying to Daniel. So, yeah, you were first in the main event at one point as well, weren't you?
Yeah, I'm actually third in chips going into tomorrow. Or not in the main, in the Sunday Million, the event 63. So I was like, obviously, I'm really disappointed without today winning in the 8 game, but I still have a shot, at a giant score tomorrow. So
right. We have it all in. Assume Harrington's going to be betting us straight here, probably, and not clubs.
Yeah, clubs would surprise me, but it's almost. I mean, you're always betting a straight.
Oh,
yeah,
it does up. Oh, okay.
So Scott's out.
Not so good game, Scott.
GG, Mr. Seiver.
It's kind of rough not being able to see what the other person had. I'm not used to just watching the tables.
Right, yeah. You look back at the replay.
Yeah. I would imagine Jason had something like ace-king with hearts or ace-jack-10 with hearts or something. Something where you can pay off this with a straight on the river and just hoping that the guy doesn't have clubs.
Because it's a dry pot, then dry side pot, basically.
Yeah. I mean, Jason's never calling with anything but Broadway on that spot.
Yeah, probably.
Okay, so we're down to 5.
Yeah.
Jason Mercier, real kid poker. I'm writing a tweet and I'm thinking in poker terms.
Looks like Ben's going to be folding this turn.
Yeah,
Would you wait till the river if you were in Jason's spot with something like aces or ace queen just to disguise your hand?
You're never getting paid on the river, and I think a lot of times there are a lot of people out there who will raise in this button spot, even with a hand like ace jack or ace 10, trying to get a fold from ace king. That's probably not the case at this stage of the tournament, and Jason could even have a club draw here. And if he has a club draw, Ben 3-bets, and then Jason can just fold his club draw. I usually don't wait, but I've got a really, really laggy reputation, so I don't really have a need to wait because I'm getting paid off regardless. And I want to give them a chance to go crazy with something stupid.
Well, 4's good.
Yeah, there's a spot that Jason could have bet, and I don't know, probably won. You never know. You find a lot of thin call downs, especially this deep in 08, because you look at that board and every draw missed.
Yeah.
If Jason's betting, he
be like ace queen 3 or something would be betting river. But.
Yeah. I mean, ace queen you're going to bet on the river, but actually EndyBeal's probably is going to pay off because I'm pretty sure he plays a little looser than everybody else, and all the draws miss, and Jason doesn't have straight cards when he's racing under the gun in that spot.
So we have spot building, and Jason's going to lead 5th again.
Yeah, I mean Jason's pretty much the lead.
Going to check call. Sorry, yeah, come.
Yep.
Jason. Wow, nice 7th call, Jason.
Yeah, and it's one of those things where
that's a pretty sick run out for Andy there. 3, 4, 5, 8 hits a full house.
Yeah, wrong game. But yeah, that's one of those spots where you're just kind of hoping that please pair that 3 and please brick the end.
Yeah.
They both started with.
Still kind of Jason does snap 7th, I think.
Yeah, but Jason doesn't fold. He's just he does pay a lot of spots.
Benny, isn't Raz one of your games, or am I completely off?
Not really, no.
No?
No.
There was some weird game that you liked doing that we almost had you be commentator for, and I thought it was Raz, and it's not.
Limit Hold'em, I think.
Well, I was thinking a little weirder than that.
Well, it was...
Could be, though.
It was just horse, I think.
Maybe horse, yeah. I think it was probably the horse, okay. All right. Pardon the interruption.
You're fine. You're gonna find. You'll probably see like on these kinds of hands where it's 6, ace, and I think it was a 3-up. You're almost always going to see a complete in a 3-bet, because nobody at this table wants to give any free pots out. And Jason's probably just going to fold here. Nope. He's definitely going to fold here. Nope.
Would you be calling? Wow, he still calls 6th. Wow.
I mean, I'm not really sure. Yeah.
I mean,
but that's what I mean. Like EndyBeal's opening the ace queen deuce, even though he got the queen, because, like I said, nobody is giving away any free pots at this table. There's going to be a lot of light call downs. There's going to be a lot of, what a lot of people who grind, kind of lower stakes would say, God, I can't believe you're calling with that crap or something. And in these high stakes games, it's standard because there's so much, I know you have this or you paired that and stuff, and it just gets, so you just see a lot of paying off with hands like jacks and whatnot.
Yeah. I mean, a lot of Raz hands are just going to be like straightforward to commentate. It's just whoever's leading the bets. But for example, if like there's a jack bring it in, and say there's 7 is second to act, and like a 5 or 3 is last to act, how often do you think that 5 or 3 is just going to be 3-betting like so much of their range with like jack 3-5 or something?
In this tournament, I think it's happening a lot. Because, I mean, you just have so many people, and, it's just how poker is nowadays. Everybody wants to outplay everybody. That's just how it works. That's a really unlucky card for Gozoboro, because even though he had the king 3, since Ben was showing the queen 9, there's a good chance that Gozoboro is still a favorite on 5th.
Yeah.
I've actually got 2 tables up right now. I'm watching a buddy of mine. He's still in the main event, and he just doubled up. So we're real excited about that. Every time he wins a pot, like I'm doing my best not to like clap for him and stuff. So I've had like a few like very silent, aggressive fist pumps.
Well, listen, we're going to be. It's fine. I mean, listen, we're going to be streaming. I think quite a bit of the lead up to the final table of that one tomorrow. So we hope to be able to feature your friend.
That would be great.
Okay.
And I hope you have to feature me at the final table of the 215 because that would be really nice.
Absolutely. Now, listen, I'm going to say this to you guys at the risk of embarrassing myself, but you know, we try to be an educational show, as funny as that may sound, but we do, especially when we do these final tables and stuff. So I invite you, don't assume that. Try not to assume that everyone is on the same level of Raz as you guys might be. If you think there are good opportunities to teach us a little bit about the game of Raz, maybe some strategic considerations that might be good for our viewers, so that they can get this game as well as you guys can. I know I would appreciate it because I don't know anything about Raz, limit or otherwise. And I think I'm speaking on behalf of some of our viewers as well. And if I'm not, then let there be some protest.
If everybody listening is final table, the Raz event, just in case. Yep. No, I mean Raz is fairly straightforward. I mean you see the cards. Obviously there's a lot of gamesmanship going on here. Like RealAndyBeal is, the Ace Jack against the 3 Deuce. In a lot of cash games and a lot of lower stakes games, you're gonna find the Jack Deuce is just folding right there when Daniel's showing the 3 Deuce or whatever it was. But at these stakes, people are drawing, and the thing is, these guys math-wise probably play perfect. They probably play a lot more perfect than I do.
Okay.
So this will be a bet fold. Unlucky Ben. Do you think we need to introduce Deuce to 7, or are most people familiar with that?
Are you asking me, Benny?
Well, either of you.
Anybody answer? Anybody at all?
No. I'm gonna put Eric in charge of education, of poker education this evening. Okay, he gets to decide at what level our students are at.
That is a sentence that has never been spoken in the history of the world. So I appreciate it.
Okay. Now, I don't know. I mean, yeah. I mean, just you guys. Listen, I'm no obligations. I said this was supposed to be fun, and it will be fun. And happy birthday to Rich Muni, by the way. Skype just informed me that it's his birthday today, or maybe.
Isn't it, Marco? Somebody told me it was your birthday recently.
No, my birthday was in July.
Oh, okay. I heard the funny birthday story about about when they said you were 25 and. They said, yeah, right, okay. But you really were 25, so happy late birthday for in July.
Well, thank you. Yes, and July 10th in 1987, and I am 25 years old.
Hi. Oh,
I didn't know people were laughing at that. If I'd known there was a joke about it, I might have partaken a little bit more.
You would have partaken.
Yeah?
Yeah. See, right here, like, RealAndyBeal's going to open, and there are all high cards behind him except Jason. So what Jason's going to be doing, he's going to be just calling here a lot of the time and try and make his board look better than RealAndyBeal's. Because RealAndyBeal's opening there 100% of the time with only one low card behind him. So Jason's going to know that, and then hopefully either A, make a hand, or his board is going to look better than RealAndyBeal's, and RealAndyBeal will fold eventually. Yeah, so you see a lot of that. I mean, it's probably... Knowing the opponent's cards is probably more important in Raz than any of the other stud games. Just because, it's important to know, what's been out there and what hands are likely to call you and whatnot.
How much weight do you give to, like, dead cards that would either your opponents give you or you give your opponents dead cards?
Well, like if, let's say for instance I'm playing a guy and he draws a 2 on 5th and it makes his board look good, and let's say I'm playing a a low draw that might be a little bit lesser. If I haven't seen any 2s out there,
Oh, King 5 deuce.
I'm definitely going to think a little bit longer that, okay, that really has a good shot of pairing him since there weren't any deuces out there before. I mean, it's definitely a consideration. I probably do it a lot less than what a lot of stud players do, but it's definitely a consideration.
Okay. So when Andy completes King 5 deuce, when there's him and Jason between Daniel, it's a bit different because Daniel also is bringing in only a 7 rather than Jack or something.
Well, and that's the thinking there is, okay, there's all these other cards, low cards behind me, so I have to have something if I'm going to come in now. There are a number of ways you can talk yourself into stealing, and the number of ways to make it correct. In that case, Daniel had the bring, and so went fold, fold. So he's only got Jason and Daniel behind him. So a lot of the times, the blinds and the ennies are going to be worth it to take a stab. And if you miss, your board can end up looking really good, and their board can look really bad, and you win that way. It's just there are a number of ways to to make this.
I assume it also balances so you can get much thinner value, or you get called down when you do hit monsters as well.
Yeah, exactly, and that's like we were talking about Jason earlier, playing a couple 08 hands that are definitely, less than quality hands, but at the same time he's going to get value later, and there's a lot to be said. A lot of times in cash games, I won't consider that because people are leaving and coming and going so often in cash games. But in a tournament, especially like this, when you're going to be playing with each other for the next 3 hours, it's absolutely worth it to take a shot to, show that, okay, I'm willing to play this hand so you can pay me off a little lighter. And when the blinds go up, it could definitely, it can definitely get you some important value chips. I feel bad for Ben. Like every
yeah. Oh, poor Ben.
He's probably opening here most of the time. Jason's always calling him.
So sick.
Ben's picked up again, and now Ben will get it in.
He catches a break.
Always get it in on that card.
Well, Jason still calls, and this is an easy bet for Ben, and
Jason
this should really be a fold for Jason, right? Except Ben's thinking, that's weird.
But there's something to be said about busting somebody, too.
Oh, wow, he's got a 7. Wow, that's disgusting. Oh, good game, Ben.
Yeah.
Wow.
I mean, it's one of those spots where, maybe if there was a full stack cash game, Jason should be folding. But in a spot like that, there's so much value in busting somebody, especially with pay jumps, that you just kind of shrug. You're getting 5-1 on your money. You shrug, stick your money in, and hope it works out.
But you'd think that Jason's going to fold on Ace Jack King most of the time, right? When you have 4 King 7. So
most of the time, Ace Jack King against King 7-4, you're just going to give up. But
right.
Talked about earlier, Jason's going to call down lighter than most, and and it works out.
That time you got there, yeah.
That's what you find with a lot of high stakes guys. They pay off a hell of a lot more than everybody else does. They do.
Sorry, I was laughing at something else.
Here I thought I was.
Just a completely random tweet from Sorrel Mizzy. Just completely threw me. It says, no one would believe the amount of seaweed I've consumed in the last 48 hours.
I don't know if I want to believe how much seaweed he's consumed in the last however long.
Or a random tweet. Well, he's just busted deep in the tournament as well. Anyway, so Daniel should be... The fact that Daniel's even thinking about this shows that Jason's... Wow, he actually calls.
Daniel has the worst hand and the worst draw.
Yeah.
So it's and Jason's betting this river if he has quad 4s. He's betting it no matter what.
Right, you'd just be betting the 7th blind, right?
Yeah. And the problem with Daniel in that spot, and plus it was a really large percentage of his stack. And everybody knows Daniel doesn't like to fold, but I mean that's just kind of one of those spots where, you're drawing to a 10, and if you hit it, there's a decent chance you're still beat.
But the fact that he does call 6 just shows how wide Jason must be. It's crazy.
Oh, Jason's definitely a nut, but he's a really talented nut.
Right.
Wow.
Yeah. I mean,
Looks
even
like
on
it.
5th, I think I would fold in Daniel's spot, let him 6th.
Yeah, because you're having to stick in a big bet, especially. I mean, it's just
Right.
you're putting a lot of faith in a pretty bad draw in that spot.
Yeah.
Yeah, and like we were talking about here, this where Jason opens, GC Burrow's always going to raise, and Andy Beal's always either going to call or raise. And like there, GC Burrow said, "You know what, Andy Beal, I know you're going to play back at me no matter what, so I'm just going to let it go." That's with you.
Right.
Which, I mean, makes a lot of sense. Like, if you're, if everybody's playing like Jason or Andy are, like, you really just have to tighten up your opening ranges. Yeah, Daniel's all in here with a pair of ace and a jack draw. He's pretty, he has
He's
outs.
got a wheel, or he catches.
Wow. That's really sick. Like, Daniel had a jack draw. He had to go perfect, and because Jason... So he has to go perfect, 3 cards less than a 10 that don't...
Yeah, that's pretty sick.
And Jason can't improve. So that's really... Like, if that were me, I would be beating stuff right now. Like, I'd be slamming the keyboards and stuff.
But he did just beat Ben, to be fair, so he's got a bit of a...
But now it's not me, so I can just, enjoy myself.
So, when Daniel 3-bets there, you call that a 3-bet, right, after a complete?
I do. I don't think it's the proper term, but I call it a 3-bet.
Right, okay. So when he 3-bets the 5 with ace jack 5, I mean, that might be standard or semi-standard when you're deeper, but he only had like 3 big bets.
Yeah, I mean, when he 3-bets, he's getting it in always. So it's kind of it's a tough spot because, Jason's opening really light. I mean, for all he knows, Jason could be opening with the king. And then his, ace 5 jack is in really good shape against a king XX, X6 that Jason would have. So it's all, and you know what? He's getting short, and it's tough to make hands a lot of the time. And he's all in.
And Daniel holds another double up.
All right,
He's
Daniel.
back in it.
How much, Benny? How in it is he?
Well, he's 8 big bets. That's obviously a lot better than 3 where he was 2 minutes ago. So yeah, he's definitely got a good chance of, well, even winning maybe. But
yeah, Daniel's up to almost 10 bets. And in limit tournaments, 10 bets is, I guess not in this one, but 10 bets in most limit tournaments is it's a world.
Yeah.
I used to do back, I haven't played it since, but I used to do really well in like the limit hold'em tournament that Stars would run. And, the big stack would always have 15 bets, and you'd have 15 bets and you feel like a superstar. So it's, wow. Daniel right here is 3-betting the 4, and GZ Burrow's 4-betting the jack. I'm going to be really...
So you'd assume that Daniel wouldn't have just the 4 here?
No. He's got,
Cool.
I mean, kings minimum probably. It's probably either aces or a set of 4s.
So I didn't see exactly how it went out, but yeah.
Yeah,
Wow, he 3-bets again. Wow. And a 4-bet from...
As I would guess, aces or now quad 4s.
Well, I was going to say aces, but Andy has an ace, so...
Yeah, I mean, if he has 4s, then he has all 4 of them. I mean, it's one of the two.
I think I'd be like folding in Andy's spot so much of the time, because...
Daniel just has it there. Daniel's never just putting in that bet, especially on 4s. Just any
and
random.
Jason asked quads. Yeah, so he did have aces.
I mean, those are the only 2 hands it could be.
I did think aces when he hits the ace, but yeah, the fact that Niki's got the 4th ace makes it a bit less likely, obviously.
But it's either, I mean, with the way the action was going, it was either he has pocket aces or he has rolled up 4s. So either way, all of those cards are out, but there's no way Daniel's putting in that much action that early in a hand against those up cards with anything but either of those 2 hands.
On 4th, would you not be waiting some of the time when that ace hits? I think you just turn your hand a bit face up, no?
Right. For all you know, GZ Burrow might have, the 9-10 Queen Jack or... No, I don't like waiting because bad things happen when you wait a lot of the times, especially in limit game. And a lot of the...
GZ Burrow catches a deuce and...
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, I mean, it's just a lot of the times in limit games, you're not making that many more bets by waiting, and you're giving up some potential value. Like Gozoboro, for instance, put in the 4 bets with the Queen Jack on 3rd and 4th Street. So if he were to wait, he wouldn't have ended up putting in that many bets. So, I mean, for me, you give people a chance to be a nut job. I really feel the way. Like, you just hang out and, if you've got it, just smash it, because it's internet poker. Nobody believes anybody.
Right. But if it was heads up, you'd wait till 5th more?
The thing is, it's just so... Your hand is so face up a lot of the times when you're waiting. Your hand is really, a lot of the times, face up. So if you blast earlier, I don't think your hand is as face up. They might just be thinking, okay, he's just trying to go nuts with a couple of 10s here, or ace-4-ace or something. I really think almost always you're losing value by waiting in limit games.
Okay. Some of the chat is quite interesting. Jason's having a little dig, mentioning that the Sigraz hand that Daniel outdrew him.
Yeah, Daniel should be out of this tournament.
Understandable, but yeah.
Yeah.
But he says they're about even because he ran Daniel down earlier.
Jason's ran everybody down at one point or another.
Daniel says all skill, obviously.
Yeah, I use the hashtag skill game plenty of time on Twitter. So, one of my first tournaments back, got into Canada. I got it in with King 9 against aces, flops ace 9 whatever, and I make quad 9s against.
Must be
aces.
Nice.
Yeah, it's hashtag skill game.
Wow. Okay. Wow, that's pretty incredible call all the way down. Did you see that hand? How that played out?
I did miss that one. I was swatting a fly.
Right. Daniel brings in a 3, Gozoboro completes a 6, and then Niki 3-bets a 3. And I was just going to ask you, what would be the bottom of your range when you 3-bet that 3?
The absolute bottom of my range would be what he had.
Right, yeah.
The problem is, if you call, then it's never really a pair of 3s because Daniel has a 3. So it's almost always spades. And
or pocket pair.
Yeah, I mean, it's either spades or a big pocket pair, and obviously he's repping the big pocket pair. But it's really impressive that Gozoboro still called down when the king.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. When the king and ace hit, and yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, it's
talking
about, you're just going to have, at these highest stakes, people just call down so often because all these guys know every play in the book, and they all know that each other knows every play in the book. So you're going to end up calling down a lot lighter than, what looks like it should make sense. 3-betting the 3, it's I don't know. It's a really aggressive play, obviously, especially the 9-3-6, because you can only, you can really only. Yeah, if you hit a 9, you don't really feel that good about the hand anyway. So.
Yeah, I was just going to say the pay jumps get pretty huge now. There's from 4 to 3rd is a 42k pay jump, from 88k to 130.
Do you think
I don't think either.
I was going to say, do you think any of these guys are worried about the pay jump? I mean, I don't know. I
was going to say, I think maybe Niki is probably the only one. He did used to play high stakes, but the last kind of year he's been playing quite a lot lower and short stacking. So I think it probably means the most to him.
Then again, if he's 3-betting the 9-6-3 suited, then I mean,
he's obviously not scared money. But yeah,
he's definitely the most aggressive guy at this table. I mean, poor Gozoboro keeps trying to open, and just keeps getting 3-bet by Niki every single time. It'd be really frustrating for me. And I don't know how you deal with it. A lot of people, there are 2 ways to deal with it, or I guess 3 ways. You can either keep opening light and keep folding and lose chips quicker. You can tighten, or you can really turn into a crazy person and just say, well, I'm not going to let you outplay me, I'm going to outplay you. But then again, that's how a lot of people go broke in tournaments. So,
right.
Gozoboro's in a really hard seat. I'll say that because he's always gonna be getting 3-bet by Niki. But I mean, that was kind of his style back before. He just tried to outplay everybody, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, yeah, it's gonna be G-Zebra.
You bet a 5 here.
Yeah.
If you're
that's
so
a
if
really
you're Daniel, would you be 4-betting a 10? Always raised?
No, I'm always
here.
at 9. I'm always raising. It's a really weird GZ betting 4th street is really weird.
Yeah, but you might be raising 10-9 with just 10s there, right? So.
Yeah. But I mean, in that case, I'm just kind of being patient. Like right there, I would guess Daniel had 10s, maybe with a gut shot or something.
Yeah.
But I mean, if you're just 3-betting the 5s, what is Daniel opening that your 5s can beat when the next card is the 9 of spades?
Right.
So Daniel's opening the 10 of spades, and the next card is the 9 of spades. And I haven't really seen Daniel get 2 out of line in the stud round. So I'm really surprised that Gozoboro bet 4th. Making 2-pair on 5th obviously makes it easier.
Yeah, I'm surprised he bet 4th too. But I actually spoke with Ben Hugh about this briefly, about if I was in Daniel's spot, whether he'd be 4-betting pocket 10s there. And he actually said he would wait till 4th a lot of the time, I think.
I would not 4-bet pocket 10s just because there's no point in putting in the bet. At that point, there's just not. I mean, the hand is so early. And, if you call, you're also disguising your 10s a little bit. You let the hand play out a little bit. It's, we were talking earlier about if you're Daniel, would you go nuts with the aces? In that case, I would, because your hand is a little bit hidden and people are obviously wanting to put money into the pot. With the 10, if you're 4-betting it, well, it's face up, it's heads up, it's that's a lot of money to put in on 3rd street with 2 10s. When the other guy, when he's 3-betting a 5, is obviously repping a bigger pair.
Right.
And here's opening.
Yeah,
again.
Gozoboro 3-bet there again with just the 8s, and Daniel did 4-bet the queen that time. Yeah, Daniel says ugh, because Daniel has 2 of Gozoboro's dead cards. He has the queen and the 8, but Gozoboro still gets there on 6th.
Yeah, it's a pretty good comeback for Gozoboro. It's these limits. It's just Daniel and Niki are both playing with less than 10 bets. Gozoboro has just barely over 20 bets, and Jason's probably going to win the tournament. He's got the table covered.
Right. I mean, I think I agree Jason's going to win just because, well, obviously he's a great player, but he's just going to pressurize well.
Every situation.
Yeah, I was just going to ask, on that 8 queen 8 hand, would you not be folding 5th a lot of the time in Gozoboro's spot?
5th
when Daniel
with the queen 8.
When he picks up the queen king 8 and has 2 of your dead cards, and pretty obviously got a queen, I guess.
I see what you're saying. You can hit the ace, you can try, and who knows what Daniel has. It's obviously it's a tough call, but again, these guys are going to go to showdown so often, and a lot of them shrug and call because everybody's going to be playing so aggressive. I don't know about calling Daniel down with that because I don't really think Daniel's getting out of line ever. He's trying to play 08, the deuce, the hold'em, and the no limit round well. And I'm not saying he's not a bad stud player by any stretch of the imagination, but he's going to play more straightforward while the guys are going to play aggressively in stud. And that's just, that's what we were talking about earlier, with know your strengths, know your weakness, know where you're at the table. And that's what Daniel's doing. And I would guess that time Daniel bets in the stud rounds, he's going to have it.
How are you feeling, guys?
Yeah, I agree. All right, I just wanted to say for anyone who missed it, Niki Jedlikka just asked, is anyone up for a 20-minute break or so I could pay a visit to my bakery? Didn't expect that ending there. But...
And Jason's got to to Canes for
Canes?
Well, how's it pronounced? Us Americans, we don't know anything.
Yeah, it's can.
But you're in Canada now.
Kind of silent.
Canada. Ha ha.
Honorary Canadian So I almost just said France too. I just should have stuck with France. I really messed up.
Canes. I'd like to interject for a moment and just make a couple of formal announcements while we're on break, give you guys a chance to catch your breath. First of all, for those of you tuning in to watch QuadJacks TV, thank you so much. Both those of you who have done it in the past already, and those of you who are new, we appreciate having you. Do not forget that you can also interact with the show, with us, with the commentators by signing into our chat. You look underneath the screen, there's a chat box. You can sign in there via either Facebook or Twitter, so check it out. It's completely safe. Speaking of something else that's safe, if you like QuadJacks, and we hope that you do, and you want to be kept more up to date with like future streams or future live streamings and that sort of stuff, sign up to our for our newsletter. And I think, Zach, if you could put that link in the chat box, you can access that. For those of you who are in there, just click on the link, and it tells you a little bit about the newsletter and what we try to do in it. Enter your email address, and you'll be set. So that's one way to keep in touch with us. Another is to follow us on Twitter. At QuadJacks.com is our Twitter. It's all spelled out that way. And we're also on Facebook. So there you go. That's all I wanted to say for those of you who are enjoying the program and wish to remain connected to QuadJacks, not in a morbid, overly attached way, but just in a, healthy and friendly manner. Those are the ways in which we can do that. And also, don't forget to follow our great, great, great commentators on Twitter. Zach, if you could also help in entering that into chat. Eric Crain, thanks so much. Great to have you join us for the first time this evening. Follow him at Eric Crain on Twitter. And also Benny. Benny does such a great job. Without Benny, I would have to ask questions to Eric about 8K. And of course, we'd have probably about 5 viewers right now instead of 300. So congratulations, Benny. You're what's responsible for our over 300 viewers, as I just said. You're at BennyG444?
Correct, yeah.
Have you been tweeting a little bit more regularly?
Have, yeah, a bit.
Okay, that's good. Anyway, guys, I hope you're having a good time. Eric, you're watching the other tournament, the main. Is that still going on? And if so, what's happening in that one?
I've only got my buddy's table up. They're down to 355, so they're 130 away from cashing. The average is 100K, which is the stack of my friends, so that's really nice. They're going to play, they're playing how many more levels? 2 more levels tonight. So, yeah, it'll go for another hour. Then, everybody can go to sleep and try and sleep while knowing that tomorrow they could win $1.6 million.
Mm.
I couldn't sleep. I'm barely going to be able to sleep knowing I could win $250,000 tomorrow. The idea of, trying to this prize pool looking you in the face seems impossible.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, listen, what do you have to say, Eric, to those of us who are still stuck in the United States and, are nowhere close to that kind of opportunity? And I don't even mean that sarcastically. Like, what is your opinion on this divide between the Americans and the rest of the world lately?
Well, it's tough being in America right now because everybody hates you, if that's what you're asking. Is that what you're asking?
Everyone hates me?
Everybody, just in general hates the Americans right now.
No. We will not. Oh, you mean like the protests that are taking place in the Middle East? And
the restaurant.
We're not going to get into geopolitics on a poker show.
But
Eric.
I placed last night or a couple nights ago for dinner, and I was trying to order something like a sweet tea, and she looked at me weird. And I go, "Sorry, I'm American," because they don't have sweet tea up here; they just have tea. Mm-hmm. And she looked at me weird. I go, "Sorry, I'm American," and she gave me the sad face. I mean, for poker-wise, I hadn't been to Canada to play until a week ago, and it's gorgeous. It's great up here. I really like it. I mean, I'm lucky enough to be up here with friends, but yeah, if you can get up here to play, and if you're able and whatnot, I'd say go for it because it's the Stars games seem to be really good. And tournaments, I've been told, have been incredible during the WCOOP, and when I played today, it was no different.
Okay. Is England pretty,
Yeah.
Benny?
Is it pretty? Well, it was rainy today, but it was lovely yesterday, to be fair, yeah.
Okay. All right, so what is happening now in this game? Give us a bit of an update. What is the situation? Four
Jason's-
left. Who's in the lead?
Jason's just confirmed that he is indeed catching a flight to Keynes.
Okay.
Yeah. So So
Yeah,
we'll see Jason taking any 20-minute breaks, so Niki can.
is that even possible in Stars? Are they allowed to extend the break?
If the whole table agrees, or if the whole tournament agrees, rather. So, yeah.
Okay.
20 minutes, and it's one of those things where these guys all know each other, so sorry, give me 10
Well,
minutes.
apart from Gozoboro, but yeah.
Yeah, but I don't know who he is. If it's Harrington, then Harrington knows everybody.
Yeah.
Who-
Do we have any grounds to suspect that it is Harrington, or is it just like
You guys
Well,
said it's Harrington.
what?
other
was
than
You guys said it was Harrington, or that it might.
oh right, yeah, no, that was me.
Yeah, that's
other
we're
than-
our own source about Harrington.
Well, Luke Schwartz said it, and then a couple of other well-respected high-stakes players agreed with him. And he plays all the games that Harrington used to do, like high-stakes PLO and heads-up PLO and A-game, obviously.
Hmm.
So, not seen any evidence against it so far.
Okay. Oh, well, we haven't seen any evidence against it, but in the complete absence of evidence for it, we are going to take it for granted that it's him.
That's how it works now.
All right.
Well, that's what so many people did with Tom Dwan as Batman, really, but yeah.
Up until earlier today, I thought Pat Pan was Tom Dwan.
No,
That's it was told, so it's
I'm
confirmed.
pretty sure it's an Asian guy.
Yeah, and then someone on Twitter tells me, "Oh, I thought that Patman is Antonius."
No.
Where'd you get that idea? And he says,
Well,
"Oh,
Patrick, but no.
right, okay."
It's pretty clear if you see him speak ever that English isn't his first language, and it's not even fake. It's pretty clear.
Wouldn't it be great if it was fake?
But anyway, yeah. But once he said his actual name once in chat, and yeah, and it's high stakes Asian and Macau player.
Hey, you know what? Since we're talking about Harrington, and Sorel Mizzi was also playing this tournament earlier, guys, check out this amazing. I don't know if any of you guys saw it. I think some of you must have, but this amazing super panel we had just this summer, just before the horse champ, not the horse championship, the players championship began this summer, the 50K. We had this amazing panel. Who was it? It was Daniel Negreanu, who comes in later, Matt Glantz, Alan Barry, Sorel Mizzi, Jared Bledsnick, and Andrew Brown Dog.
Tony Dunst, yeah.
And Tony Dunst moderating. I mean, come on. It was a great panel, a great discussion. They talked about a lot of issues, not just mixed games. They talked about a lot of lifestyle issues as well. Great WSOP review. I mean, that's really a gem. That is pure QuadJacks right there. So if after this some of you are looking for additional mixed games entertainment, keep it right here at QuadJacks and check out that link in chat. And for those of you who are not in chat, get in. There's only 34 people. Are you kidding me? This is our conversion rate, 10%. Yeah, one person just signed up or signed in. Nickel Naps. All right, Nickel, welcome. Who else? Anyway, that's all I wanted to say. Check out that video. Back to you guys.
Well, Daniel just won a really big pot off RealAndyBeal. He was drawing to a low initially, and he ended up making aces off, that's a tough spot because Andy Beal ended up raising fourth to freeze Jason out, and then Daniel just had the eights in the backdoor low draw, just the eights on fifth, and on sixth he picks up the low draw, and then the ace is up against the board like what RealAndyBeal had, and if he's racing on fourth, he probably has kings or kings up, so Daniel could really confidently bet or raise his aces up on seven.
Right. And the way Daniel's board ran out, you just assume he'd have a low so much of the time.
Yeah, I didn't see if it went bet raise call on the end or if it went
On
check.
7th, it went a check call on the river, so assume Andy didn't have kings up, just maybe.
But even if he did, I don't really see. His hand is pretty face up, so I don't really see. Maybe check to get Daniel to bluff, even though again Daniel's never bluffing, but in the stud games. But check to him. Maybe Daniel fires the bullet, and you can just, if he's bluffing, call him off with kings or kings up. There's really not a lot of value in just leading out there because, again, his hand is face up. Yeah, that was a big double up. That was a big double up for
crucial hand for RealAndyBeal with just 5s.
5s, and I mean, GZ Brothers had a worse slow, obviously, but and hell, who knows? He might.
Well, I guess he could have just 5s there some of the time with a worse kicker, but.
Yeah, I mean it's 3, 5, or 7. Yeah, 3, 5, 7 board. I mean it's almost always a low unless he's paying off with a pair of 3s, which that just seems
pair
really.
Pair of 3 is pair of 5.
Sure. Yeah, I know. I'm saying like what Gozoboro had or Gozoboro had.
No. I think Gozoboro could have had a pair of 5s the way it actually went.
There's only 1 5 left, because RealAndyBeal had 2 of them.
Well, but the way he called third. Okay, whatever.
Never gonna know. It's just it really is brutal not being able to see the cards afterwards. I never knew how much it helped me.
Yeah. Well, at least it can often be easier commentating on stud because you can actually see more info than hold'em, for example.
Jason is raising 100% this time with the queen and the king that were in front of him. He probably has auto raise on with the ace up and stud high low. And these are 2 big boy boards. I mean, these are...
Right.
Yeah, I mean, it's going to go to showdown. They both at least
likely to have loads. And, wow, Daniel scoops. Nice river to give him ace up.
That's a pretty good hand. Aces up and a 6 is pretty unbeatable in stud 8.
Right, yeah.
It's a big hand. Wow, it's incredible because Daniel is almost out. He needed those running Raz cards to, to be alive.
So Marco asked how big that double up was earlier. Is your proof, I guess?
Oh yeah, I mean it's it could end up being a $200,000 double up. Just 4, 6, 7 of clubs. LOL. Wow, no big deal. No big deal. I don't think Daniel calling there is really strange. Daniel just
with
calling.
The 9.
Yeah, with the 9 is really strange. I expect him to fold pretty much 80% of the time there. Just
would you be calling some kind of high cards?
No. I really wouldn't be. There's not enough out there. And if I'm going to call it, I might as well raise it. I really don't understand calling by Daniel there. That's really surprising to me. And Jason's opening the 9 because, he's Jason Mercier, and the guy's obviously going to draw a king and then pair a 7.
Right.
It's interesting that Jason's tanking here. I wonder what he could be tanking with. I mean, I assume he had a pair of 9s, but
just 9s, or well, I guess he.
He made.
Wow.
Or no, he made a straight. I'm sorry.
Wow, don't you think that's really weird that Bro checks 7th with like the nut low?
Yeah, I know.
His low's unbeatable, and he can get Jason to fold 9s with his 7s, obviously.
I'm really surprised he didn't lead out the point of the hand. I mean, did he even bet 6th? Yeah, he bet 5th. He bet
he bet 6th. He bet 5th and 6th.
Yeah. And then Jason called the 3-5, 7-8 king. Yeah, I mean it's. I'm not sure the pot was big enough for that, but again, these guys are just going to go to showdown every time.
Right. When Gozoboro has the 3-4-7 there and Jason completes the 9, are you ever 3-betting after you
I
get called?
It depends on my game at this stage. Probably not, because these guys all know what you have when you're 3-betting.
Right.
I mean, either way is fine. But the problem then is, well, when the king comes, I mean, do you still barrel off? Do you check it, and then you have to? The next thing you know, you end up sticking in an extra bet, and you have king 7 4 3. I mean, it's tough in heads up stud 8. The pairs are usually pretty well off. So, yeah, maybe not. Like if there was, like, let's say for instance, Daniel had a 10 on the hand. So let's say Jason opens the 9, and then Daniel either calls or raises the 10. Well, then if I have the 3 4 7, I'm always putting in an extra bet there. I'm always raising because I want to build the pot up so those two can go after the high hand, and I've got to show a shot at getting, half the low hand.
Okay. Makes
Heads
sense.
up, I'm not sure I do. So you mix it up, but most of the time, no.
So next game is No Limit. So should see things change up.
Oh yeah, I'll be real interested to see, Daniel playing in position.
I assume Daniel's going to be playing such small ball and tight in it.
Yeah, but I mean, you're going to see Jason opening a lot, and I would imagine Daniel's.
Niki was also opening really wide.
Yeah.
I saw Niki open 3-handed. He opened Queen 3 deuce deuce with 3 clubs in PLO, which is pretty gross.
That's
so he's just so wide. Yeah.
That's a little high variance.
Yeah.
There's Gozoboro paying off with ace 6-10. It's a good bet by Jason on the end. I mean, I know he had queens up on 4th, but that's a really scary 5th street when you have queens up in stud high low, because a lot of the times you're already facing the low, and you're facing a pair with the ace redraw or pair of aces. So yeah, that's a really good bet on 7.
But did you see how the hand played out? He didn't actually bet 4th or 5th. He just called after Gozoboro bets. Yeah, I just looked at it again, and Gozoboro was the one betting 4th and 5th with Jason's queens up, which is pretty conservative flats by Jason, but I guess. Well, I mean, 4th is conservative flat, but 5th is okay.
I don't think 4th is a conservative, because if 5th street is a complete blank, like let's say a jack, then you can raise your 2 pair.
But he's just going to be checking 5th, right? He's just going to be checking so much when he breaks 5th.
You would be surprised. A lot of people just keep barreling off the low draw. But I mean, when the ace comes, Gozoboro always has to bet. And I mean, at that point, he's either calling and showing down the hand or folding. And again, Jason isn't folding. So, yeah, I mean, it's just kind of call down. But when it's checked on the end, when Gozoboro checks to Jason on the end, then Jason,
that's an easy value bet, right?
It's a very easy value, because Gozoboro is not going to risk losing value with aces up or low.
Yeah, and he's almost never check raising in that spot, I think. So.
It would be an impressive play, but it's a gutsy play, because you need chips in these things. You have to get value for your hands.
Yep.
Did we lose somebody?
No.
Okay. I heard like a little sound. I wasn't sure. But yeah, no. I mean, it's definitely a standard bet.
Wow, that was a interesting 6th here with Niki. Wow, that's a great raise on 6th. Do you see that?
Yeah, the queen's up. That's a really good.
So Gozoboro bets 6ths with aces showing, and Niki raises it with queens up. Wow.
Yeah. It went check on the end, right?
Yes.
The idea is there you just raise to check back 7th. But then again, if Gozoboro re-raises, well then what do you
hate life fold, right?
Yeah, then what do you do? You're in trouble. Yes, lost Marco.
Okay. Oh, Zach fixed it. We're good.
And you thought I was crazy.
No, you guys are doing a great job.
But do you think that's... Shit, that?
Just commending you guys.
Yeah,
you guys are doing a really good job.
Thanks.
Thanks, man. Yeah, I was just going to ask about the 6th raise, because, I mean, firstly, he waits till 6th and not 5th. Why do you think that is?
Because you raise 6 there because you're always checking behind on the end, and you're almost always getting checked too.
So it's just a blocker kind of bet like that, yeah.
And then if you fill up, you can always bet again. Yeah, I mean, you're never betting queens up after raising 6th. You're never betting again on 7th because you've already gotten that value, and it would just be really hard to bet again. But that's a hell of a gutsy raise in this spot.
Yeah, one thing that raise actually stops or accomplishes is that if Gozoboro does brick 7th, then if he does bet, because Gozoboro is going to be betting 7th most of the time, right?
Well, not after any 6th.
No, that's what I mean. So the fact that Andy raises 6th, Gozoboro betting 7th.
Yeah. I mean, it's the same amount of money going in, essentially, but you're getting extra bet if you fill up. The problem is if you make that play and then Gozoboro re-raises you. But if he re-raises you in that spot, you can pretty confidently fold queens up because he either has 3 aces or aces up. So you.
I don't. Yeah, I wouldn't think he has aces with the way the hand played out. But anyway, yeah.
Well, he had aces.
I wouldn't think he had a 3rd ace, but anyway, yeah.
Yeah, but I'm saying that if he re-raises you on 6th after you make that raise, you can very confidently fold your hand.
Yeah. Anyway, so no limit.
Yeah. And it's interesting because I think Jason's going to be blasting out of position against Daniel a lot.
Yeah. So Gozoboro's down to 11 bigs.
Yeah, but he's got 20 blinds because we're in it's 255, 25, 5,000.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, no, you're right.
It's got 20, but I mean it's still four-handed. I mean 20 outs can go like that.
Wow, Andy's stack went down quickly. Didn't watch that. It was over 300 not long ago.
I mean, it's swingy, It's just,
Did you see what Daniel says?
What did he say? Let's move on to the next plaque.
He says boring, let's move on to the next plaque, which it means next game, right?
Yeah,
plaque is a live game term, right?
Yeah, because in live games, when you've got whatever mix you have,
plaques, yeah.
You
plaques that tell you whatever game it is.
Yeah. And like I said, this is one of those spots where Jason's going to be betting a lot, and Daniel's going to be calling down a lot, so it's going to be...
The river might have changed things.
Yeah, I mean, Daniel's usually pretty keen as to what people are doing, but...
Jason still makes a hefty bet. It's, and Daniel,
goes the hum, he thinks for 2 minutes, and then calls. I mean, that's pretty much what happens every time, right?
Yeah, I think he's...
I don't think Jason's bluffing.
You don't think Jason's what?
Bluffing very often in this spot. Yeah.
You are correct.
I was going to say the same thing. Yeah. The problem, I mean, it's just...
Jason says next plaque as well.
Yeah. It's just, that's a really hard board to bluff on a no limit. I mean, it's just, especially when
Daniel... could be there with like King 8, right? Or something. It's a pretty good hand to bluff with.
But he knows that Daniel's paying off most of the time.
Well, really, wouldn't you hate life in Daniel's spot with Jack 7 or something? Jack 8.
If you have yeah, that's a
when
tough spot.
When he makes that big, yeah.
It's just a tough spot. I mean, I'm sure these guys have a that's playing into every decision. And I expect to see Niki pretty much raising any 2 here. Because Niki needs the blinds. So does Gozoboro. But I wonder, and you're going to run into a few problems too if you're a Gozoboro and RealAndyBeal. And again, you don't know if these guys are thinking about it or not. But moving up, I mean, it's what, a $42,000 pay jump, and they're both short stacked. So you wonder if it's going to play into their decisions as well.
Right. I mean, the structure is good. They're not that short. I mean, the 2 short stacks still have 21 and 24 bigs.
Yeah, but four-handed, I mean, it's four-handed that just goes so quick, especially with as aggressive as these guys are.
Oh, Gozoboro limps here. Snap false. I'm pretty sure though the two short stack are going to get pretty active come PLO. That's both of their strongest game.
Yeah, PLO will be fun. It's definitely my weakest game, and it's actually not close. That PLO is absolutely my weakest game, so I'm always real, curious what people are doing and what the thought process and stuff, and I'll be real interested to, because again, these guys are all world class, especially, if Gozoboro's Harrington. I mean, he's absolutely world class at PLO, and so is Niki. So, yeah, I'll be really interested to watch the PLO. I agree. Let's just start a petition to get rid of No Limit.
We'll make it 7 game. But...
I'm okay with that. We can get rid of PLO too and just make it 6 game. We were talking about that earlier. Like,
we'll just horse with Deuce. Right.
Yeah, I don't like horse, but I like Deuce. Deuce plays bigger than everything.
Sounds
anyways.
good.
I'm comfortable with that.
Yeah, it's how on Full Tilt they had like 10 game and 9 game.
Yeah. I've always wondered why. Well, I know why they don't do it, but Stars wouldn't try to start like a mixed game kind of thing where you get to pick the games that the table's going to.
Right, like dealer's choice.
The problem is people are always coming and going out of games, which is why they're not going to do that, because you would get so many people showing up and playing. Let's say if somebody's a good Badugi player, they're going to show up and play the Badugi and the Badusi and the Badasi rounds and then leave. That's why it can't be done online, I don't think.
Yeah,
but it would be a cool idea, like, make us do it for higher stakes.
Well, the Stars do have a thing now where when you sit at a mixed table, it does say, like, you are supposed to play all games.
Yeah. And if you don't, I mean, you can definitely, people can email and report you, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, right. People do, yeah.
Get warning emails saying, hey, if you're going to sit, you got to play all the mix, and it's really important to do, because otherwise you just can't have mixed games. Because if we could do that, if I was a dick, I could show up and play Omaha for every round of the horse or the 8 game.
Right. Because
sit out
you're
the
going to
other.
be stronger, and
Go down with
it's
Niki.
the real douche move.
Go down.
We have a raise here. Yep. And Jason calls pretty quickly.
Out of position 2, I don't think Daniel's just not.
Jason's been betting with flop really small though, like 35%, 30%, and I think he almost invites people to raise. I've seen it happen quite a few times, where people have raised it or check raised it when it's been so small, and quite a bit of the time he has given up. But
and if he calls the flop, and
and Daniel's always continuing that turn when it's such a break.
Yeah, just if Daniel knows that he's always raising, I don't know. I don't think Daniel's raising that often with air, so I would guess that Jason maybe had like a queen jack sort of hand or something like that, or like a pair of 8s. He had a hand that when Daniel's betting twice, it's never good.
Right. Yeah. The guy in chat asks why we're calling him Gozoboro. I just followed it because of you calling that. I was calling the Boro before that. But.
There used to be a guy who said that was, or like I'm thinking of Steve Gross.
Oh, Gozoboro. Yeah, right.
Yes. Okay, so we're gonna go to Gozoboro. See, that already feels weird.
Leave Gozoboro alone.
Jason.
Yeah, Marco, nice needle in chat too.
Yeah, Jason's really wishing he bet that river, by the way. I didn't see. Is there a bet call on the flop, or how did it go?
Nah, check flop, bet call turn.
Jason, yeah, okay, so Jason led the turn and he called. And then at that point, Jason's probably figuring that he's just going to pay off with a 6 or pocket 7s or something.
Oh, Gozoboro even does have a perfect 4-bet stack here.
Yeah, and there it goes.
Does go ahead and 4-bet shove. And, cooler, wow. Oh, thanks to 10. Wow. Shit, that's gross at this stage.
Easy game that no limit holds. You just stick it in and a couple tens, and you flop somebody $40,000.
Sick. Yeah. What?
You're just never folding tens with 20 pigs short-handed, but that's really unlucky.
Yeah. Hashtag skill game, right? Nice, Aaron.
You guys ever say stuff like, "Sorry, Jason"?
Yeah.
I don't.
Oh, Jason takes it like a man, so it's all good.
I don't think I've ever apologized though. If I somebody in a pod, I never. Oh, sorry, man. That was And if I do it with a little smirk on my face. So I just always wonder if those are sincere. I can't imagine. I don't care how bad the beat is. If I'm putting a beat on a guy like that this late in a tournament, I'm not apologizing.
Yeah, I wouldn't normally apologize, but I would say unlucky because the story's completely genuine. Because you're always happy to get chips,
Or you could do didn't Jason this summer have the just bad luck shirts? So he it's just bad luck. Looks like they're still about half an hour away from being done in the main too. You'll find this a lot of no-limit games where the last few hands have been just kind of raise and take it, because a lot of the guys who play mix fancy themselves better at the limit games. So you'll see a lot of people not wanting to get overly involved in no limit or PLO.
But yeah,
so with these two guys, you're going to see a lot of PLO action.
Yeah, I agree. But yeah, I heard Sean Deeb and Scott Seiver talk about it in mixed games where you shouldn't be overcompensating for what your strongest game is. If your strongest game's no limit, then you shouldn't be playing a ton more hands, because it actually becomes a leak then.
Yeah, and then all of a sudden your strongest game is another weak game.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, just a lot of raise and take it right now. Except Daniel's probably going to defend his blind, because Daniel always defends his blind.
Oh, well, he does defend, but pumps it up.
I usually expect Daniel to call. Anytime Daniel 3-bets, I just get... it just should throw up bells. He's so much into, call and C-flops. And,
Another 3-bet and a snap fold from Niki. And Daniel says, aces then kings, no big deal.
And I actually believe him.
Yeah, I'm saying. I don't worry about any reason. Yeah, I don't think he'd be lying.
Yeah, but when Daniel's 3-betting in the limit a lot of times, and ace king for good measure, yeah.
Well, it must be nice to get them, but he's pissed that he's got 3 walks, basically.
Yeah, that's true. Oh, wow. He's thinking.
Yeah, but wow, okay, so he does 4-bet, but the fact that... Okay, Niki's still snap folds.
Well, he knows Daniel's not...
Oh, but actually I just realized Niki's stack, Daniel's not going to be light there often, because he's committing Niki, yeah.
Daniel's never light in that spot. He doesn't believe in the big 4 and 5-bet bluffs that a lot of the younger guys do.
No, I agree, but I was just thinking that the fact that he's just said he's had aces, kings, and ace king might play on the guy's mind, but I guess not.
Yeah, I don't really think... I honestly... Well, and Daniel said it earlier. He says, can we just get rid of this game? He's not trying to outplay people in no limit. He wants to... He's going to go to his, his deuce, his limit. his 08s, where he is going to play better than everybody. So, I mean, I would imagine that his no-limit game is going to be fairly straightforward.
Yep, agree. Wow, and another, really.
Oh, wow, and Jason calls, so...
Calls quickly. Because if you're in Jason's spot right now, wouldn't you be thinking, it's not likely he's going to have a monster 6 out of 8 hands, right?
No, exactly. I mean, it's a really tough spot, especially with the stack sizes, because you really don't want to play a big pot with a big, with another big stack at this point.
Right, he's the only other guy that can really hurt you.
So, I mean, I would suspect if Jason's calling here, he has, I mean, at worst, King Queen, and he's probably folding King Queen on the turn because I don't think Daniel's betting that light. I would guess that Jason either
has an ace, yeah.
Ace 10 or just made a flush, and my money's on Ace 10. Ace Jack, okay.
Ace Jack, yeah. Okay, close.
Yeah, and the thing is, it's a tough spot for Jason because he hit the flop, but then again, there's Daniel, and he's just not betting 2 streets there with 2 jacks. It's just never happening. Maybe he could have a
Queen 10 of clubs or something. I think maybe, but
checking back a lot of those turns. Like you just don't see Daniel throwing at big bluffs. I mean, Daniel easily had like an Ace Jack or an Ace 10, and Jason have the best hand. It was just kind of unlucky that's how the flop came out for Jason.
Yeah.
Like, here's a small value bet by Daniel.
On the river?
Probably. I don't know. I'm so bad at PLO. I'm not even going to guess hands. And that's what I mean by value bet.
Yeah, that's a nice call.
That's a tough call. It's just one pair.
The way the board ran out, though, I just think Daniel can really easily value bet that river with 3 checks, with King Queen even. But yeah, nice call.
Niki just showed no. He didn't show any interest in the pot really.
So yeah, I mean, Niki does call like Ace 7, 7, 10 out position versus Daniel. I just think he's going to be so active in this round.
Oh yeah, I mean, especially if Gozoboro is Harrington. I mean, they're both going to be just.
Well, it doesn't matter that he's Harrington. I know PLO is his best game because that's the main game he plays anyway. For cash, yeah. Well, that's an interesting turn.
Very interesting turn.
So,
a lot of times a turn like that will kind of shut down the action a bit. Yeah.
So check, yeah. I was going to say the check can also check through pretty often with whatever his range is.
Yeah, and like there's a spot where...
Would you be... yeah, I think Gozoboro could be bluff. Or would be bluffing river quite a lot of the time, but...
I'm always tempted to bluff those kinds of rivers, and it never works, but I always do it. And it's just... Because there are so many, like, rack kind of hands and, like, King Jack 10 or King Queen Jack kind of hands that all of a sudden can't even beat Ace High. So if, like... RealAndyBeal has even Ace King High, a lot of times he can make that call because on that kind of flop texture, there's just so many hands that the 3-9s counterfeit.
Yep. Because, yeah, I mean, if I was in Niki's spot, it's a really tough call when he does bet river, so...
Yeah, and it's a tough call. It's like there are a lot of... I'd say there are a lot more bluff hands that he shows up with than value hands. And here's Daniel just wanting to play small ball in PLO. He even tweeted earlier something like, I will not bust in PLO, I will not bust in PLO, I will not bust in PLO.
Really?
Yeah, he tweeted that earlier. So, I mean...
Sorry, who was that? Daniel?
Yeah. It's an interesting river pot bet. There are a lot of draws that miss, but yeah. Every draw missed except for whatever, and there's the 6-3. Wow, so
So
Bro
you checked the turn.
checked the flop, and Daniel, I think he checked the flop, and then Daniel just min-bet the turn, and Bro just called.
Oh no, Gozoboro min-bet the turn. Okay, Gozoboro, but yeah, he min-bet the turn. That's...
I said it wrong again, didn't I?
Yeah, and you're getting me to do it as well.
You are irritating Kyle, Eric.
Kyle, you're not going to be the first person nor the last, so I'll accept that. Hell, I'm probably not the first person.
Fuck it, he'll get over it. He was...
Irritated.
Anyway.
Yep, here's ErealAndyBeal opening again.
So yeah, I was just going to say the two main guys would sort of be active at it again.
You're seeing a lot of just careful Omaha, you know? A lot of not wanting to get too horribly involved, and that's what you're going to see a lot in these 8-game tournaments.
Hey, just for Marco, seeing as the host know what I was saying, it looks like we're going to have Ben Yu on, guys, after his main event for the evening wraps up. He'll come on and do a post-interview, which is a few minutes after he busted, but he'll come on and give his thoughts on this 10-game final table. So that should be exciting, and like we were saying in our private little chat here, you guys are doing a really good job. Keep it up.
Thanks, man. Yeah, looking forward to have Ben. How long is the main going to be?
I think it's only another 20 minutes or so. Let's see,
right.
The next, because it ends, I think it ends at 11. So, yeah, it'll be good to have Ben on since he...
Oh, here we go, we have an all-in, and wow.
In a straight and a
Set
flush.
versus... Wow.
And he goes out, yeah.
Good game, Niki. That's just a standard cooler spot, really.
Especially when you're short. Especially when you're short.
I'm actually kind of surprised Niki doesn't 3-bet pre-flop, but still.
Yeah. No, but I would imagine in a cash game,
Jack 10 double suited.
In a cash game or a PLO tournament, he's probably 3-betting that 100%.
Yeah, but Gozoboro has been opening pretty often. I don't think he'd 3-bet against Jason or Daniel, but I thought he would have against Gozoboro and in position. But anyway, good game.
How much did he get for that?
88. Okay.
Yeah, it's kind of interesting now that all the 3 stacks are all the same, because before it just looked like Jason was going to run away with the thing, and now Daniel's the chip leader. Gozoboro has chips. I mean, you could definitely see a lot of. I'd imagine there would be a little bit more careful PLO play. If I were any of these guys, I would be really ready to get out of this round. They have.
Well, because I think. Well, Jason's 2 of his strongest games are obviously no limit and PLO, but he's actually chipped down in the 2 games. And other than Deuce, I don't know how strong he is in the other 5 games.
Yeah, I mean, Jason's good at all the games. It's just.
Well, I mean, I assume he's.
Yeah, I mean, he's just
good,
he's games. But when you when you're in a tournament like this, you'd rather. You'd just rather be playing the limit games than lose your whole stack in one hand. That's
right.
Yeah. That's me, anyways. I mean, there are people out there who get in these tournaments and just go nuts in PLO. Personally, I like to. Sorry, we're clapping over here. My buddy just got there.
All right, you're living with him. Oh, I see.
Yeah, exactly. So. Yep, it's a good day. It's a good day so far. Hopefully it gets better. Yeah, and by the way, Daniel, I guess, tweeted 5 minutes ago or so, again, I will not go broken PLO. I will not go broken. Not go broken PLO. So, I mean, it's definitely just a...
Yeah. Do you think there's a chance Daniel's listening? He said cool when you mentioned QuadJacks earlier, and he did tweet about it earlier.
It's actually
interesting if he is.
Yeah. Hey, Daniel, say hi if you're listening. Thanks for busting me in this tournament earlier.
Daniel, if you're listening, tweet as much. Sorry, I thought it was worth a shot.
Well, I guess not. Or he's just being secretive.
It'd be great if he was listening. I was wondering. I never make it far enough to listen to these things when I'm in them, but I think if I final table the million tomorrow, I will listen probably while I'm playing. I'll give you guys a shout out. I gave you a shout out earlier while I was playing.
You did?
I saw that. Yeah,
I
saw that.
Did. My mom was watching on TV from the U.S.
Oh, she was watching on QuadJacks. I knew she was watching, but I didn't know it was on QuadJacks. But then, of course, where else would you go to watch the WCOOP?
Of course.
Other than QuadJacks, right? Yeah. Okay.
Watching, and that was a treat for her. So, yeah, you never know. No.
Okay. Well, that's wonderful. It's very nice. And thank you for the shout out.
I do what I can.
So, Marco, Deuce is coming up. Do you say people would know it?
Deuces is coming up? What?
The game Deuce is coming up.
Oh, the game.
No, Marco, the podcast. Deuces
the podcast Deuces Plays, or is that what it's called? Deuces Plays?
Deuce is cracked?
Deuce is cracked. Deuce Plays. Guys, I'm getting a little tired, actually.
Oh,
I'm
boo-hoo, it's 6:40 over here.
Yeah, well, come on, Benny. You know, you've overcome several wins by now. I'm still struggling with my first.
Yeah.
Anyway. No, I'm listening. You guys are amazing.
Thank you. Daniel says no clue here.
Oh.
But yeah, so do you think we need to fill in any rules, or will it be alright?
Are you asking me?
Well, I was asking Marco, but...
Oh, what did you ask me, Benny?
Do you think we need to give a quick summary?
Yes, I certainly think you guys need to water it down a little bit for the uninitiated. Okay, that way everyone can kind of share in the fun. Get smarter about the game, you know?
Okay. Eric, do you think Daniel said no clue about Gozoboro or about where he stands? I just want to give you a saying about... Yeah.
It's weird. Backward clubs, and it paired the 5, which is, kind of a weird card to pair, so...
Yeah.
That's
Anyway,
what he was saying.
well... Right. Yeah, a quick rundown of Deuce then. It's similar to Raz, where the lowest hand plays, except ace is high, and straights count. So the best possible hand is Deuce 3, 4, 5, 7, hence Deuce to 7. And, well, that's basically it, really.
You get 3 draws.
Which is count against you as well. So, yeah, that's it. So, you want to be generally raising 3, 7 cards, like Deuce 5, 7, or maybe Deuce 5, 8. But 3-handed is probably going to see a lot of 3-card discards.
You're going to see a lot of raising, a lot of drawing 3, you're going to see a lot of lows showing down. I always wondered when Jason checked raised Daniel here, like, do you think Daniel called saying out loud, "I will not go broken PLO, I will not go broken"?
Well, he said it's his mantra.
Yeah. I can't blame him. Actually, during the World Series this summer, I was playing an 8, or it was a 10-game tournament, and every time PLO came around, I actually got up and walked away from the table.
Really? Wow. I guess you must think you have a huge edge in the other game.
I'm not going to... Guys, see you later. So about 6 hours into the tournament, obviously I decided, okay, now I'm going to play PLO, and I go nearly broken it. So, it's my curse. PLO is my curse.
What do you think about how long the game rotations are? Because cash is normally can be only 6 hands, where here it can be 20 hands. You have to
do it time-wise. tournaments, so all the tables, like in a live tournament, you're going to have X amount of hands. But in online, it's just important for kind of everybody to stay uniform with what games are going on at what time. Oh, wow. That's
yeah,
a big
because of the blind. Oh, yeah, nice value bet.
Just
But yeah, because of the blind structure so slow, it's 15 minutes a level, so that's 15 minutes every game rotation.
Yeah. I guess there was something last year. I was actually told about this earlier today, where last year a guy was stalling through one of the games, which is one of the...
There was a couple of that earlier too.
Yeah. And and I guess Daniel was throwing a fit about it, which I can't blame him. You know, if you get in an 8-game tournament, you should be playing all 8 games.
Yeah, Scott was... Well, I mean, it's different when you're on the bubble, but yeah, Seiver was not happy about it.
No, Scott Seiver's not happy about anything. How did this go? Did it Jason bet and Daniel
Check
raised?
call,
Okay.
Daniel.
I guess there was a big raise pre-flop then.
Yeah. Well,
That's probably going to shut down.
I was going to say that turn doesn't help him much of the time, but the
That's
river...
Oh, wow. That's a great call by Jason. It's just
No,
tens.
check the river.
Check the river, but Jason had just 10s and 5s. That's an awfully tough... That's a tough call to make out of position. Because if Daniel...
On the turn?
Yeah.
Pretty draw-heavy board, really, with 2 flushes and 4-5 and Queen-10. Straightable.
Yeah,
But
there aren't a lot of rivers that
I thought Jason would be check raising the flop quite a lot with top 2, but...
So that's just another thing where you just don't want to go broken PLO where you want to play...
Yeah, I guess they're just trying to minimize variance, right? So you'd probably check raise that in cash, but here, I guess not.
It's the flop is just so draw heavy. Like, I mean, if you check raise and then Daniel bombs it, I mean, what do you want to happen? Like, right. Okay, I'm getting it in with top 2, so I'm either up against or a wrap and a flush draw, which I don't want to be up against anyways. You know, you just want to.
Exactly.
You're playing a mixed game. You just really want to avoid flipping coins as possible, unless that's your only shot of winning. Yep. And on to triple.
Quite a big hand did just go down, but well, they're going to show down. So Daniel's extended a chip lead with that.
For sure. By the way, my buddy just doubled up to 180,000 in the main.
Congrats to him.
Everybody out there, give a high five to yourselves for my buddy. Yeah. But yeah, glad we're on to triple. It's a lot. Triple does a lot more interesting to me than the no limit is, and even the PLO.
Yeah. But again, there's going to be quite a lot of straightforward action in triple draw. Like Gozoboro is discarding 1 here, Daniel's 3. It's always going to go check bet.
It's always going to go check bet, and right here, it's going to go check bet after this draw too. Almost always induce the person who has the lead, who's drawing the least amount of cards, is always going to be...
Daniel does check raise, so assume he's going to be pat now. Yeah, he is.
And Gozoboro
is also pat, but assume Daniel is... Why checks?
Gozoboro's probably going to win this hand, because Daniel right there is check raise.
So you assume Daniel has like a 9 here. So I assume he's always betting an 8.
Yeah, and the idea behind check raising is to get the other guy hopefully to break if he has better, and Gozoboro doesn't 3-bet him. Like, let's say Gozoboro has an 86 or something. He's not going to 3-bet him because he doesn't want to give Daniel a chance to break his hand and improve.
Right. Is you trying to make him break? Is that like, what kind of range are you trying to make him break there? Because I think most of the idea is just to make him pay to draw, and you can kind of have position after 3rd draw because you're pat. If that makes sense.
I mean, I really like Gozoboro's play with not re-raising if he had like an 87 or an 86, because you don't want to give Daniel a chance to redraw. Like here it's 1-2, so Daniel's going to bet again. It's going to go 1. Gozoboro's calling. It's 1 pat. Check. Gozoboro pats the 10 and wins.
It's unlucky by Daniel. Wow, we get He has a wheel draw from first. That's a pretty harsh break.
That's rough.
Yeah, I bet he's not going to be happy losing to a 10. And the annoying thing, like in that spot, is you could like break a better 9 or a 10 earlier, and then end up losing to worse than you had.
That's I mean, essentially in Deuce when I busted, that's pretty much how it went. Was people were patting the 10s, and I was drawing and I kept missing, or if I would raise and pat the 9, they would draw and make the 8, and it's there might not be a more frustrating game than Deuce. It definitely has the most of any of these games, and it plays the biggest.
Yeah.
There's a bet on every street.
Yeah, I agree. It plays the biggest, and
street of betting.
It can be really frustrating when you like lose a huge pot by 1 point. Like 8-6-5-3-2 loses to 8-6-4-3-5, 6-4-3-2 or something.
Yeah, exactly.
In those kind of spots.
Yeah. It's an
really
interesting because the betting is almost always very straightforward. You know who's betting when, and but it's always it's such a swingy game with how how often I'm drawing 2, then I got there, but do I pat this? Do I draw this? I mean, it can really be a mind fuck. It really can be, because if you're wrong a couple times, then you really just kind of start questioning everything. It's a fun game. It's one of the games I really enjoy playing.
Yeah, it's obviously a very different game, so if you're just new to 8 game, then you're kind of screwed at the deep end if you've never played Deuce before. It's not a game you can pick up on the fly, really.
Exactly. And there was a spot where when Jason pats after the third draw, Jason pats the third draw, and Gozoboro pats behind, Gozoboro always has a good hand. He's never patting or something.
Did you see? There was quite an amazing hand earlier, just at the start of the final table, where Niki Jedlikka, after second draw, he raised, Jason re-raised, and Niki 3-bet with like Deuce 4-5-6-6, and then Jason discards 1 after raising second, and then calls after third with a queen low. And that was just amazing. I don't really know how he calls it, the way the action went.
Yeah, I mean, you just have to know that Niki is capable of snowing in the spot. And for snowing, I guess we haven't explained that yet. Snowing is when you pat a hand that's basically a pair or some terrible hand that has no shot of winning it in showdown, but you pat it earlier in hopes of making the guy fold or break, and then fold at a later stage of the hand. Snowing is basically the Deuce equivalent to bluffing.
Yeah, so you're obviously always going to be betting after snow. But yeah, just that spot in particular, because you often snow more after you discard 2 rather than just 1. And in that spot, Niki discarded 1, so I just thought he's snowing such a small percentage of the time is pretty amazing.
Yeah. But, Jason doesn't fold. It's just, it's
I guess not.
Time, but it's just tough. It's really hard to make that play against Jason.
I'd like to step in for a moment and kind of take some questions from our listeners. On Twitter, John TC at Sweet Tweet Dude asks, I just tuned in. Can someone tell me who is Gozoboro? So, did we know that, or did we figure that out, or did we not?
Is rumored to be Harrington, a.k.a. Jared Besnick.
Yeah, well, we don't deal in speculation here on QuadJacks. Well, actually, yes, we do.
Okay, well, basically, it says he's from Ireland, but every high-stakes player doubts he's from Ireland. And
every high-stakes what, excuse me?
Every high-stakes player doubts he's from Ireland.
Oh.
Like, well-known or well-respected cash players, and think it might possibly be a multi-account.
But, Benny, I'm going to stick you with the task of providing at least some sources, some links, something, okay? I mean, you're the one who's been perpetuating this allegation the most so far on the air. But anyway, aside from that, do we have... no, I mean it, because I know that you're resourceful like that. So if you can find something, that'd be cool. Aside from that, do we have any clue, Eric, Gozoboro, any inkling?
I have no clue. I have,
No?
and I'm not in the speculation business, so I'm going to hold off on guessing.
Okay, that's fine. Something else. Yeah, what's that, Benny?
I was just going to say that the three well-known high-stakes players thought it was Harrington, like Source and Full Flush, Luke Schwartz, and Alex Luno as well, all thought it was him. So, yeah, that's what I'm going on.
All right, well,
Those
maybe, yeah.
It's obviously possible, you just never know.
It's obviously possible. All right, maybe we'll do some investigating of our own. In chat, Benny, I think you might have seen this. Stack me donk? That's not imitation. Well, deuce to 7 live. Do you call out how many you're drawing so others hear, or is it job to watch?
Usually it is.
Yeah, I think... Oh, go on. Well,
The dealer does it a lot of the time.
yeah.
Okay, here's a 3 draw. We're drawing 2, and the dealer, you never pull the cards in until everybody has discarded.
Mm-hmm.
So it's the player's responsibility, obviously, but the dealer will oftentimes say draws 2, draws 3, draws 1, and so on and so forth.
Mm. All right. Well, listen. You're both doing a great job. I remind you all. When is online poker coming back in the U.S.? We'll have the answer to that when we come right back. Zach, why don't we give our fine friends a little bit of a break? Let's go to a musical interlude. We are 3-handed here in the 8-game high roller WCOOP-64, which is the penultimate event, I think, before we go to the main, or we conclude the main tomorrow. We are joined by the live commentary of Eric Crain and Benny from England, who are we're both doing an amazing job. We're right here at QuadJacks TV. Sign into our chat. Let's come back in a few minutes.
All right, we're back. Is Eric back?
He might be. He might not be. Maybe you're on your own, Benny.
All right.
And then what? No.
Shout out to Benny in the chat if he's listening.
Yes. Welcome. Real Kid Poker. Daniel Negreanu, thanks for joining us in our chat box. He hasn't sent it. See, Daniel listens, okay? When I say, please sign into our chat box, Daniel, that's okay. You know what? I think I might just. Who knows, right? Whoever out of our over 300 viewers, many of whom actually are courtesy of Daniel, so we're thankful, have not yet signed into our chat. You are behind on the social media times, and I suggest you get with the program because this stuff is catching on. And B, but it's weird though because if you follow Daniel,
Wow.
you know what I mean?
Sorry, just a crazy hand going on. There was a 4-bet post second draw, and then Daniel discards 2 after Jason's pat. Wow. I guess he was trying to get Jason a break.
Didn't work.
Yeah, that's pretty unconventional.
Yeah, this is a big pot because if Jason wins this pot, then he's going to have pretty much double second place. This is a pretty important pot, in my opinion. Oh wow, Jason folded the river.
Yeah, one thing actually that is quite important. Well, position's really important in Deuce as much as No Limit because you can see how many cards the person in front of you is discarding. So it's, in later stages on second and third draws, really useful to if you're going to be patting a 9 or 10, for example, just because your opponent's drawing.
It's those games where you have a little bit of extra information, whereas Hold'em, you're always kind of guessing what his 2 hole cards are. Where in Deuce, you have information. Okay, they're drawing this many. Where, okay, if they're this many, then, if they're drawing 3, well, then I need less of a hand to make my...
Pot.
That's a 200k pot that Daniel...
What was he saying? Yikes! Nice move about.
Sure. It didn't. Did it show? Did it show the other hand? No.
All right.
Yeah, they drew one on the end.
Wow. Okay. So Daniel stood pat, and then Gozoboro raised his bet after discarding one, and then Daniel broke and discarded one, but then Gozoboro also discarded one.
Yep, and that's exactly what we meant when earlier we were talking about breaking.
Yeah, I'm surprised though, because the fact that Daniel does discard one, I thought Gozoboro would be pat more than if Daniel's pat himself. It's kind of weird.
Daniel's thinking here. I imagine Daniel's got like a 9-ish, so yeah. Like if he had a snap called him. When Gozoboro's drawing one out of position and Daniel is pat in position on the last draw, and then, hey, I said Gozoboro right. I just realized that. But when he leads into Daniel, it's very rarely a bluff, and most people are going to pay it off. Because, yeah, but it's just very rarely a bluff. But everybody still pays it off because if you start folding to those times, to those pots, you're just never going to win in deuce because everybody's going to bluff you out of every pot. But 95% of the time, you're beat.
Yeah, but because of that, then people will be thinking, oh, he's never bluffing here.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I mean, if it works once in this kind of stage of a tournament, then hey, you're, I always like to say when something like that happens, oh, you made the move now and it worked. Now you're a great player again. I always say that like when I, hit a hand or something like that. Oh, look, I did something stupid, but it works, so I'm a great player. And so I guess if you can get him to fold, you're a great player again. But it's just never a bluff. It really is never a bluff. Daniel's really looks like he's playing. He's in every pot in deuce, which doesn't surprise me. He's probably the best deuce player at the table.
Really? Well, Jason's he's done well at WSOP and deuce anyway.
It's 1-1-8 probably, but
right.
Yeah. Yeah, I guess I got 20 minutes left in the main for the night. And then, yep. then tomorrow's the big boy day. Tomorrow's the big boy day. Yeah.
The day twos.
Day 2 is tomorrow, yeah. Wow, from... Did I see that right? Didn't he just go from drawing 1 then 2? No, he drew 2. Okay. Saw it. It's the wine.
So Ben New's going to be coming on a bit. And nice check raise there by Daniel.
It's a really... it's a really risky play. Like, just losing values. It's important.
Well, yeah, Gozoboro does snap call there, but it's obviously what range you put him on. The fact...
For Gozoboro to bet on the end, he has to have at least an 8.
Yeah.
So Daniel had to, it's a guess obviously, but Daniel guessed that he had at least an 8, which you're always going to bet in the end. Well, not always, but most of the time. But yeah, it's a really impressive check raise. Anytime you can get that in and deuce to 7, it's impressive. Wow. Daniel.
Very nice call.
And if I'm Gozoboro, that's tilting me a little bit. It's because
you'd just be feeling pretty small right about now.
Time you're just getting, red like this.
Yeah, just getting pretty owned.
A lot of the times, though, when you're betting, when it goes draw, and then you lead out and betting on the end, a lot of the times it's either an 8 or better, or completely nothing, because the other hands are just checking down, hoping to win. So, it's usually kind of one of the other things where if Daniel had a pair of 6s, he probably would have folded because then it's, well, okay, even if he paired, my pair is probably worse. But since Daniel just paired the threes, he can talk himself into a call.
Gozoboro is nice hand. So we're on the limit. It's the first time we've seen limit.
Yeah. Yeah, when we got on here, I think they were on
So
08.
I assume this is going to be Daniel's strongest game. Or Daniel will be his strongest here.
Daniel has a bracelet in limit hold'em, right?
Yep.
Pretty sure.
Do you think we're going to see any flat calls in the small blind from button opens, or is it all going to be 3-bet or folds?
When the button opens?
Yes.
I would be really surprised. You just don't see people calling out of the small blind that often at all. I mean, even if you have a hand like 7-6 suited, you're usually 3-betting that hand. It's very rare on a level like this to see people calling out of the small blind, because it's important to get it's important to get isolated. It's important to get the big blind out.
Yeah, but also disguises your range, right?
Daniel's probably going to lead out at that ace, and Jason probably has got a minimum of 2 pair here.
Yeah, well, he's not.
I mean, Daniel could have ace-5 very easily. A hand like ace-5. I'm not sure if Daniel's calling down. Maybe he had like an ace-9 where he picked up a draw on the turn, or an ace-jack or something like that. It's a really hard spot if you just have an ace, because it's really hard to fold top pair on limit hold'em, but it's really hard to if you're getting raised.
Yeah, I don't think Jason's bluffing off in there. So.
Yeah, Jason's never bluffing. If he bluffs in that spot, way to go, you deserve the chips.
Right. But yeah, that said, pretty much the best Daniel can have is an ace.
Yeah.
The way the hand play out.
Yeah, I would guess Daniel had either ace-jack or ace-9 in that spot.
Yeah.
I don't think it's just if he missed as like a queen-jack draw, I don't think he's bluffing because it's too obvious of a bluff.
Right.
So it's probably like a misstring. He might have even been calling down with ace-king high.
Yeah, I was just thinking, if you're in Daniel's spot, sat there with ace-9, the fact that you lead river is pretty transparent now. Would you either, well, I guess be check calling most of the time, just because if you don't think they're paying off?
It's important to get value because I don't think Jason's bluffing there a lot, because even if he check raised with a straight draw on the 10-7-5 flop, the 8 probably made him a pair. So
yeah, I agree, but I was just thinking, if I was in Jason's spot and I was there with King 10 and Daniel checks river to me, would you not be?
I would probably still value that with King 10.
Right.
And that's,
but if you're sat there with King 10.
And I don't think Daniel can check raise one pair. I don't think Daniel's ever check raising a bluff. Like it's kind of one of those spots where you've got to, just bet the King 10. And if he's got the ace, way to go, you win the extra bet. But you're just, limit hold'em is all about just getting the most value out of your hands. And times that best hand is going to be second pair. It's going to be third pair. And you just have to bet those hands. There was a hand earlier, and I guess we'd done one limit hold'em, because I remember Jason, a hand earlier, the board was something like king, king, queen, 5-4. And Jason very confidently was betting pocket sixes the whole way and getting called down, and they were good. And it's one of those things where a lot of people who aren't as good at limit hold'em, they're just going to check their sixes because he might have a queen, or he might have pocket eights or something like that. But it's important to, it's just really important in limit hold'em to get value for your hands.
Yep.
It's tough to make a pair. It's tough to make a pair and hold them.
So yeah, now that it's three-handed, there's going to be a lot more thin value betting.
Oh yeah,
absolutely. So there's going to be some ace high value betting, even, etc.
Yeah, there are some boards you're going to bet value bet ace high on. Mostly, more so, I don't know. Yeah, you're definitely going to get some boards to value bet ace high on though. Like a Jack 7-7-4 board, you're almost always value betting ace high, and you're going to get called by king high a lot, to be honest. Like here, I suspect Daniel's going for the check call.
So Gozoboro could well be betting like a 6 even.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
I didn't quite see how it played out, but yeah. You're not going to be afraid of the 4-card straight that much.
I mean, the 5's really unlikely. And how it played out was Jason folded, Daniel raised, and then bet every street. Daniel checks the river and goes up bets and takes it down.
Right.
Yeah. And expect Jason, like on this hand right here, when it checks through. Oh wow, that's a really lucky turn. Like Jason's value betting the 8s there all the time. Because even if Daniel has a king, it's unlikely he's going to raise it after he just calls the turn. So you might as well throw the bet out there yourself because it's going to go in regardless.
Yeah.
And if you can fold pretty confidently.
Yeah. Do you not think there's some value in inducing though from a queen or maybe the 10 of spades or something?
Oh, there's absolutely value in inducing, but I don't think you're inducing a lot of bluffs at this stage, and I don't think Daniel's just calling with a dry queen. I mean, he might, like if it's the queen of spades or something, yeah. But in general, in limit hold'em, it's best to get your own value than to be tricky.
Right.
Yeah. This is a spot where you're just seeing Daniel and Jason play all the pots together.
So it could well still be. Oh, nice hand. Yeah. I was just going to say it could well be betting a king still on the river because
you'd always bet
a ace hits.
Always bet a king there on the river. It's more, it's more likely that he's going to pay you off with the worst pair than that he hit a miracle ace on the end. A lot of chips flying around in limit hold'em, though, aren't there?
Yeah, and Jason's. I
mean, Daniel is just at 6 now. He's at 250, and Jason was down, and yeah.
Well, I guess Daniel
trying
to stuff like 9-10. Yeah, that's what. In that sort of area.
Daniel's doing a lot of bet fold. And it's really tough to win money in limit hold'em when you're bet folding. You know, like sometimes you just got to pull the trigger on the river and you look like an idiot.
Right. Yeah, for like if you were in Gozoboro in that spot and you had ace 9, would you be waiting till the river or just flat calling river to raise?
On the hand 2 hands ago on the ace queen 8 7 5 4.
Yeah.
I'm probably raising. Yeah, I mean I'm raising, especially if I have the 9 of clubs. But yeah, I'm probably raising turn because you don't want him to draw for cheap. Oh wow, that's a really dirty one.
Yeah, that's pretty gross. But I just thought if you just raising the ace there, just again turn to a hand, pretty face up, you can get another.
Necessarily, because a lot of people are going to think, here's the ace, he's just trying to bluff the ace.
Right.
I mean, limit hold'em folds.
But yeah, we were talking about thin value, and Daniel's all in. And he holds. Yeah, I was just saying we were talking about thin value, and Daniel still bets a single pair on a 4 flush board.
Yeah. Well, I mean,
it didn't work, but yeah, it can often be good.
Yeah, I mean, if he gets in a tough spot because I almost think Gozoboro might be capable of raising there without a heart just as a bluff. Oh, and Daniel's out.
And
What's out?
well, good game, Daniel. And wow, this is going to be a heads up. They're even stacks and pretty deep.
It sure didn't look like it would be these two heads up.
Right.
So go do it.
Yeah, when Gozoboro had that key double up with a set.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah, I mean, if the ace or nine, it's just, tournaments are silly like that.
Yeah, can all be down to one hand.
It's amazing how many people who, they win a couple hands in a tournament and all of a sudden, they're a superstar.
Right.
Tournaments are just so.
Yeah. What did you actually make of that ace queen and pocket three's hand?
It's completely standard. It's going in with Daniel's stack. It's just getting capped every street, and it's going in no matter what.
Okay, but would you not be hating life with threes there?
No.
When you get check raised by Daniel?
I wouldn't be hating life. I mean, Daniel could be check raising. He's going to check raise any ace high because that's a really inconspicuous board. He's going to be check raising any straight draws, a flush draw. I mean, a number of things Danny could be check raising. I mean, it's like I said, it's hard to make a pair and limit hold'em. You just a lot of people just go with it. Jason, I just text you. Well, at least we know. At least we know Jason knows who Gozoboro is.
Well, Jason was quite good friends with Harrington. Interesting. Yeah, good game, Daniel. Tough hold'em rounds.
That's an understatement. That was a round. But any tournament, you just go. You run. I was talking to a friend of mine earlier who played this. He was complaining, blah 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 blah, stupid, whatever. And I said, limit tournaments are just brutal. If you run bad for 20 minutes, when the blinds get big, you're out.
Yep, I'm very experienced there.
That's what happened to me earlier, and then that's what happened to Daniel. I wonder if Gozoboro's tanking here. I wonder if he's going to talk about making a deal.
Yeah, I'm thinking that. I don't think he's going to accept it. They have such huge time banks. Like 8 minutes.
On Twitter. They're trying to figure out how to talk to each other. I mean, it definitely surprised me, especially if Jason's trying to catch a flight.
Collusion!
Exactly.
Heads up, collusion. Oh, Daniel's just tweeted a brutal tweet. Poor guy. Feel for him.
Yeah. He's won. He's doing okay, though.
Yeah. I think he's still going to sleep at night.
He'll probably be able to play for his flight just fine.
Right.
But you get this deep, you just want to win anything. Yeah, like I said, I think Gozoboro's going to try and make a deal here.
Yeah, he's just chopped the deal. I hope Jason says no. It's just going to be more interesting.
It's more way, isn't it? Then again, I mean, yeah, heads
Jason
up.
says I'd rather play.
Rads might just be terrible.
But yeah, heads up is kind of my specialty, especially limit hold'em. So it should be an interesting game.
Yeah, that's what I used to mostly play was heads up, Omaha high low. Back when I could play legally, and now I'll probably get back into it a little bit.
Play that a decent amount too. So yeah, no deal. In case any listeners were wondering.
Which doesn't surprise me. Jason's been playing so much lately that he's just... That's a pretty strong race.
So good, yeah. Nice.
Even it back up. Yeah. I mean, even though they're both playing... wow, we're all the way up to 1632. So, I mean, they're both playing with 20 bets.
Yeah.
Yeah, limit games, limit tournaments, like I said, the average stack is just 20 bets. Good luck to see how it works out. It's more fun that way.
But yeah, I mean, this is obviously it's such a nice structure. Like limit final tables are often so much shallower.
Oh yeah, of course. I mean, Stars really, especially in the big buy-ins and stuff, Stars really goes out of their way to make a good structure. Like this tournament, how long has it been running?
Yeah, I'm sure.
14 hours.
Yeah, it's good of them. I'm sure the players love it. Scott Seiver and a couple of others earlier were saying it's such a nice structure.
No, they're done with the main event for the day.
Nice. Should be seeing Ben on shortly then.
I guess that resumes at 11:30 tomorrow morning Pacific time. So, oh yeah, and that's right, Ben is coming after.
Yep. So, right. They're just going to be opening like close to 100% of buttons here. Do you think?
In 08,
80, so.
yes, you're opening 90% of the buttons.
Yeah.
I mean, I was having a discussion earlier with the guy about how often you check back a flop and stuff, and it's very player dependent. It wouldn't surprise me if these guys though are checking back. It wouldn't surprise me if these guys are checking back more flops than what a lot of people would do, because again, they're going to be paying off a lot lighter. They're going to be calling down a lot or check raising a lot, and you just don't want to get trapped in there with a very subpar hand. And in 08, it's really easy to do.
Yeah. Well, we just saw Harrington check back King Queen on Queen 5-4.
Yeah.
So
he's mixing it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd be really surprised if Gozoboro doesn't have a 10 here. I would be very. Yeah. And Jason. Yeah. So he'd either have the low draw or the spade draw. Maybe both. If he just had the spade draw, I would wonder if he would even call that, because, again, there are a lot of full house cards out there.
Yeah.
But that's what we were talking about, like the thin value betting. Like I can't imagine Jason was betting there thinking his high was bet. But I mean, when you have a low and it's heads up, a lot.
Yeah,
if it's heads up, you have any low and any pair, as long as the board's not like 3, 4, 5, or 6, 5, 3 with 3 diamonds or something. Like, you're just going to bet a pair and a low, and it's hard to scoop when you have those kinds of hands.
Yeah, on the 4-7-6, when Gozoboro checks back, Jason's not going to think he has a better low than him most of the time. So.
I was, but Gozoboro's never putting in an extra bet though, because just no reason to. Because he has a low that is really vulnerable, and he has queen high, so he can't really ever put in a raise. But he's never really folding the deuce 3 low heads up. If a queen had come, like if that 4 on the river had been a queen or a jack instead, I would imagine Gozoboro would have put in the raise, because for Jason to have scooped him, he would basically
with 3 clubs and
even with 3
2 straights out, 3 straights out.
Yeah, but Jason would basically have to have deuce 3 with clubs to order him, or ace 3 or ace deuce with clubs. 5-3 doesn't scoop the deuce 3. I think you're getting a lot of value out of there just by raising, because it's hard for that hand to get scooped and heads up. It really is. And if he has it, so be it. Then you'd lose an extra bet. You feel like a moron. But more often than not, you're able to make that raise fairly confidently.
So in 2 minutes, Jason's gone from back down to 500 up to 850.
This is good. I'm not sure this will get back to Raz.
Really?
I mean, very easily go. I mean, they have 9 minutes left.
Gozoboro started limping, so reduces variance.
Interesting strategy to start limping there. Wouldn't surprise me to see Gozo raise that turn either. Nope. Jason's repping the diamonds here. Oh, wow.
Nice hand.
That's a very lucky hand. Because that's a... Yeah. Had Jason,
that's a pretty terrible flop for Jason there.
It's a really... I mean, that run out ended up really good. And you've got to bet that river even though the diamond came. Because, you know, it's unlikely Gozoboro's ever limping the button with a suited ace. So it's going to be tough for him to ever raise the river back. So your best's just to bet it on your own.
Right. But is there still a case for inducing for Gozo to bluff his miss low? Just thinking you also have a miss low.
Because I can't imagine Gozo had really a low draw because he limped the button.
Right.
I think a lot of times he's just got like kings and sixes. I was really surprised Gozo didn't raise the turn. When you're limping the button, those are the kind of hands and board textures that you're looking for. So I was really surprised the turn. But he might have had like sixes and sevens, and it's really hard to raise the turn with sixes and sevens in 08.
Right. So, well, you might be right. I mean, Benyu's coming on in 4 minutes. You might miss the game at this rate.
Nut low and did he have the live 5? Having the live 5 sure makes it easier to make that call. Yeah, that was a case where Go was...
Yeah, I mean, if the river's a king, then...
Yeah, that's really hard to make that call with just a pair of sixes.
Yeah.
It's actually... I think calling the turn is actually a little... Yeah. I guess when you pick up the diamonds and the straight flush draw, it's tough to fold. But there's just so that you're drawing for half. And in heads up, it's really hard to win money when you're consistently drawing for half. Like, it's going to be really hard to consistently make money when Jason makes the nuts every hand.
Well, yeah, of course.
Wow, and Jason... Like, a lot of get check raised where you have like a deuce 3 or a deuce 4 of clubs sort of.
Wow, yeah, that's a monster.
Wow, that's what we call a big boy hand. And now
I still would think that Jason would be waiting till the turn to raise most of the time when you have the board so locked up. You have not full house and a great low draw.
Because you want to have to pay if he just has the low draw. I mean, he's obviously going to blast.
Well, he's going to be betting on the turn so much of the time, regardless of if the low came in or not, I think.
Or, it's... again, it's just... when you're playing Limit Hold'em, getting value is just way more important than getting that extra half bet that you might get. You're either out on a whole bet or you're getting half a bet extra. So it's just... I don't know. I err on the side of when I have a hand, I blast it, and I balance that out, because when I don't have a hand, I blast it too. Right. I just think that to me, sticking the bets in when you've got it instead of getting tricky in limit games is just a better. You're going to outthink yourself a lot of the time and end up missing bets. Gozoboro's making a small comeback. Back up 10 bets. And Jason's, when Gozoboro's that short, he's going to be folding a lot more often with Gozoboro, because he doesn't want to get involved in a marginal spot and end up having to give Gozoboro an extra 100K in chips when he really needs it. Yeah, ace and a 6-4. Right. I actually probably would have raised that river if I was Jason. But
ready.
Yeah, and when Gozoboro 3 bets your that high flop you don't expect him to have.
Right. So yeah, Gozoboro completely missed that flop, and I was gonna say, if you were Jason, you could just be raising that flop with a lot of air.
You're almost
just because.
If I have a king in that spot, I'm always raising the flop, because even if he has aces, I'm not in that full of shape.
Hello, gentlemen.
Hello, Ben.
How you guys doing this evening?
Very good.
I'm doing all right too. Just okay.
Yeah, Benny and Eric were in the middle of a conversation, you know.
Oh. Well, why'd you guys call me then? I just picked up the phone. It's not like
I guess you had no way of knowing. I'm just kidding with you, Ben. But listen, ladies and gentlemen, Ben, welcome to the program. Welcome back to QuadJacks 3. It's good to have you. How are you doing?
It's good to be back. Yeah, I'm doing okay. It's been an okay day.
Oh.
Yeah.
Finished 5th in this tournament that we're continuing to rail.
Yeah, I can't believe you guys have me doing that because, everyone knows it's like the most tilting thing to have to go back to a tournament that you busted out of.
Yeah.
Unless you have like a friend still in it, and
Ben, you
guys have me back here.
Ben, you crippled me when we were down to 16 people, so I had some time to, to feel better about myself before I came on. So, you guys are terrible people bringing both me and Eric back on.
Yes, we're awful. We're just god awful. Ben, what did you make of the fact? Check out this needle. What did you make of this final table? For as little as you actually got to experience it. And what do you make of this heads-up match right now?
Well, I was there a lot longer than I thought I would be. I had somewhere between 50 and 70,000 for the whole first 20 or 30 minutes of that final table, and everyone else was in the 200s. So you hate to say this, but I was pretty happy to at least get a pay jump and get 5th. It was pretty tough. Everyone it's like a typical 10K or online or big buy-in event where everyone is really good and really well known and really successful in poker. So you're not trying any like cheap tricks or anything. You're just trying to play solid, good poker. Looks like what I think of this is that Jason Mercier is going to win another tournament.
Yeah, no, you don't like Gozoboro's chances?
Did you see my mustache hand?
Yeah, that was pretty silly. I felt for you.
Jason plays a lot of the... I think we talked about this last time. I'm not sure... We may have talked about this. Jason plays a lot of the mixed games like very unconventionally, and I think very good unconventionally. When he first started a while ago, a lot of people said that he was like bad. Actually, it was pretty well agreed upon that he was bad, and then he got really good really quickly. But his really good is he plays like I think the thing that I always remember is that he often limps when he has the steel cards and Raz. And I'm not sure whether it's to induce people to, get in there with worse or whatever, or just to make people play worse. And I didn't see him do it in the one Raz orbit we had at the final table, but I've heard he plays the mixed games a little unconventionally, but still very good.
Yeah, there was someone that came on and said that Jason limps a lot, but I didn't see him limp at all at this final table in Raz.
Yeah, I did not see it at all either. Maybe it's an opponent-specific thing or whatever, and I don't know.
Well, look, Gozo's chipping up here a little bit. Ben, do you have any idea who Gozo is?
Oh, my roommate says it was Jared Blesnick.
Well, no, it wasn't your roommate. That's Benny.
Correction. You misheard.
What?
People thought it was Jared Blesnick multi-account 2 weeks ago, but then he said, I'm not Jared Blesnick on 2+2.
Okay.
See?
So we don't know?
It's some guy. He buys a lot of action on 2+2 under the account named Gozoboro. I'm assuming he doesn't want to be known.
It just appeared out of nowhere. And
I didn't have that option. When the final table started, someone said, I think George Janzer said, now that we know everyone else, does anyone want to introduce BensBenz or whatever? And then Scott Seiver said the professor, and then Jason Mercier said Ben Yu, and I was pretty surprised because I'm pretty surprised that he knows who I am. My roommate Clayton, who had recently won a WCOOP bracelet, said that that's way better than winning any amount of money at this final table.
Being known by Jason.
I wish I'd saved the chat.
Really, being recognized by Jason Mercier in chat, in Pokerstars chat, is above taking down, what was it, $250,000 and the
According to my roommate, and he has a WCOOP bracelet, so he must know what he's talking about.
It's a very sound long-term investment.
But listen. But if you take down a WCOOP, doesn't Jason Mercier have to know who you are, especially if you beat him out? I mean, it seems like. I don't mean to argue, but it seems like.
There is if he loses.
Ben, put your roommate on the air. I want to argue with him.
Come back here, Mr. Clay. My roommate is Clayton Newman. He recently won a PLO bracelet, and he did say that, yeah, because the WCOOP bracelet winners get to go to PCA, and that's where they receive their bracelet. He said, that motherfucker will know who I am at PCA or something. So yeah, he will have to know who Clayton is at some point.
Higher? Your roommate is
Maybe
that
the
Clayton?
same with Gozoboro.
Who's speaking?
I am Eric.
Oh, hi, Eric.
Hi, what's up? Yeah, see, I'm still everything.
Oh, you're still on the air. Hey guys, well now maybe not a little bit, but for a while there, Gozo and Jason were pretty even. So
Yeah, chip back before Jason just hit that massive brass hand.
Let's see, there's like 40 big bets in play. Is that right? I'm pretty surprised that they're swinging that much back and forth if there's that many bets in play.
Incredible value.
it's all moving so fast. I was just looking at that hand back there. Boom, 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 boom. Bet, call, bet, call, bet, call. Like they're almost doing it rhythmically. Is this just a game? Is it just these two guys? Look at this.
Everyone away with limit games.
I mean, everybody knows what they're going to be doing before it's done in a limit game, especially when you've played at this level for these guys have.
Wow.
Yeah, I was definitely like the slowest player on everything today. I mean, this is pretty typical in high stakes, both cash games and tournaments. Everyone just, plays fast. They know what they're doing already in general. They have plans,
Jason's
God
trying.
forbid you have plans in poker and what to do on later streets. I mean, wow. Eric, you play particularly fast, though. You're in there with our real RealAndyBeal speed, right? Just clicking it before the button even appears.
I'm definitely using the raise any button from time to time. So I'm just not a big believer in wasting time. And I come to these live tournaments and stuff, and you get these people who just sit there, stare at you. I was actually playing with Calvin Anderson earlier today, and Dax and I had a big joke this summer where we just called him the starer because he'd be on 3rd Street in a stud 8 pot with a 9-up and stare at whoever completed, and then just kind of nod and fold, and it was just miserable to be around. But yeah, so it was I don't know, I like to play fast, and the people who play slow, if you're out there listening and you play slow around me, just know that you're driving me up a wall.
I do think that playing fast induces more mistakes in general against people, especially if they're not used to playing fast, but just start to play fast because you're playing fast.
There are a couple guys I played Heads Up 08 with who I noticed they play faster than I do. And
no, there's no way.
Super big. I don't play quite that fast, but they'll play faster than I do, and so what I'll do a lot of times against them, if I'm really into the game, I'll actually slow down a little bit, and I find that if there's somebody who's used to playing fast like me, and you're playing slow, it's just miserable to be around. And I'm sure you were talking about how you usually play slow. Or if you're playing fast and whatnot, and somebody's playing fast against you, that can be it can be annoying and maybe induce mistakes like you were talking about.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm surprised they made it to Raz. I really thought this was going to be done in 08.
I mean, Raz is, again, there's 2 antes only in the pots. There's not that much to steal. I mean, it looks like these guys are still going at it, but again, a lot of the hands just end on 4th and 5th when one guy bricks and one of the guy improves.
It's going to end on stud high.
Yeah, it's not like stud high where, we both have pair. Let's see the river.
We both see 7th. Oh, I didn't. Well, maybe bluffing. I'll call anyways.
My brain is just so fried right now today. I'm trying to think of like things to say and commentary. I don't feel guilty at all because I feel like I'm more as a guest right now as opposed to the commentator.
Well, we think for a while that you were going to make it in. We thought that like 1.2 or whatever it was that you weren't gonna, that it was going to be over before.
I think everyone's a little worn out after a long day. But I'm curious about something. May I?
Sure, shoot.
Actually, two things. Number one, we've done a couple of these final tables. It's probably a noob question. But we've done a couple of these final tables in the last month or so, as people who've been watching us know. And, it always seemed, with very infrequent exception, that a deal gets at least suggested by the time they're 5, maybe even 6-handed. This table, it never even really seemed to come up until we got to be heads up. And from what I understand, I think I missed it, but from what I understand, it was quickly shut down by Jason Mercier. Why is the mere suggestion of a deal so inhospitable at a table like this?
This is actually kind of funny because I don't think I've been on Stars since they changed the software where they discuss a deal button. It's actually in the info tab now. And I said to my roommate Clayton, because he just recently made a deal, I said, I know that a deal's not going to get made here, but I just want to know where's the checkbox or whatever, just so I can see it. And I think it's because, first of all, all these guys have money, and if they don't have money, they're more likely to already have sold the action or have backing deals or have swapped the action out.
Yeah.
It's just, as a professional, it's just part of your game plan. It's something you foresee. It's not like, whereas amateurs are much more likely to, let's play this tournament, and then if I get deep, I really want to make a deal because I haven't prepared for this. So if you think about it, Daniel and Jason have all the money in the world and win all the money in the world, and then even if they lose it, Stars, they have deals with Stars. The other guys in this tournament are all, high stakes players for the most part, or they're like me again. I just swap out the action, and I probably would have still preferred to discuss a deal or look at it, but everyone has already coped with it. Essentially, it's the deal's already been done. Essentially,
I think Jason wants the title as well, though.
Ben, you're forgetting an important part: is that nobody's ego in this tournament will allow them.
That's probably the most important thing. Yes, actually.
I appreciate everybody has money or this will allow them to make a deal.
If that doesn't get them, their degeneracy gets them. So one or the other, right?
I definitely have the money certain Daniel has, and I don't think I would even make a deal at the final tape. I just say, whatever. It's still been a good day. Let's try and run it up, which is actually my cash game strategy too. So,
I have another question. How difficult does something like the 8K become once you're heads up? Assuming that one of these guys maybe isn't as great a limit Raz as the opponent, are they just fucked for a while?
It's kind of interesting. So, a lot of things matter. There are a lot of, we talked about a lot of dynamics in mixed games tournament, last time I was on, and there are definitely a lot of them here. One of them is just the randomness of, which game do you start heads up in? And because this format is timed as opposed to number of hands, the levels are still 15 minutes. So you're playing 15 minutes of Raz now, right? Which, could hypothetically end the match. So, it's just a huge advantage, again, if you're the stronger player in Raz, hypothetically. So, hopefully it doesn't get to this, but, people start playing slower or, think about stalling because they want to get to their better game or whatever.
Kirby last year.
Yeah. Not everyone is a samurai, so they could Kirby-nator and stall their bad games. But, that's definitely consideration. And even not on that level, let's say you're just a little weaker, you might be more inclined to gamble at whatever game we get to. Especially, or if the next few games are worse for you. There are a lot of these kind of dynamics you're definitely paying attention to when you get heads up. And the games are actually really interesting too because, again, the ante games, especially the stud ones, are going to play a lot smaller because the pre-flop pot has decreased a ton in Raz stud and stud 8. In no limit, there's still the blind, so there's still a lot of money to fight over. And in the limit hold'em, PLO, and triple draw, these are all just super gambly games. So those games are going to comparatively play much bigger than they used to. So there are a lot of these dynamics to pay attention to, and it's unfortunate that this is still timed. It should definitely be the number of hands played at this point for sure. But yeah, I mean, these are definitely a lot of things to consider once you get heads up and just throughout the tournament.
When you get to the final table, you make it hands instead of time.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, it's probably better for it to always just be number of hands, but it's even more crucial when we get to the final table, and even more crucial as we're heads up to avoid these kind of problems.
But don't people stall near the bubble to try and get to split pot games and things?
Yeah. Yeah, there's always going to be problems, but you still just want to design the best possible format or system to eliminate as many of the problems as you can.
Everyone's giving up on Gozoboro. Hey, he's hanging on, okay? I mean, you guys had written him off half an hour ago, but I gotta say, I admire this guy's tenacity.
I mean, he's definitely played pretty good. I can't think of much. I can't think of many mistakes. We played for quite a bit. Even before we were on the final two tables, we played together a little earlier.
He had that one hand against Negreanu.
Okay, my roommate says he played bad once or whatever.
No, that was just the one hand, though, that wasn't, standard.
I don't remember it.
When Negreanu had king 5 and turned 2 pair.
Oh, yeah, so I do remember hand.
I remember that hand.
This is at the final table. It was limp to Negreanu, and he limped. Gozoboro raised ace-queen. Negreanu called with king 5. Flop was king-queen, X. Gozoboro checked behind, and the turn was a 5, and Negreanu bet, and Gozoboro raised for some reason, and just really inconsistent, really strange, and I don't know what he was thinking there, but that's probably not the best limit hold'em play. But I mean, overall, I think he played pretty good. I mean, he definitely has a chance to win against Mercier if he can get some chips back.
Wow, Jason
runs so good.
No, it's over. It's clearly over.
What happened? I don't get it.
Jason
Explain.
Strip 4s in Raz and got there with the runner.
Oh, that Raz is an easy game.
We're just getting all in here. And
We're all in,
and
Jason needs to not brick. Oh.
And
wow,
nope.
Double. Wow.
This tournament was actually, I think, pretty interesting compared to the 50K WSOP version of this. I tended to notice a lot more just the high stakes, cash game players of PLO and no limit, whereas I felt like the 50K was a lot more just live pros, people who played old school mixed game players, the people you've heard of on TV for years. I think that was kind of interesting. So I did think the field was a little bit tougher than the 50K was. I'm trying to think of other differences.
Is this going to be it? It might be.
Here we go. And oh wow, yeah, nice river, Jason. Good game.
And Jason Mercier wins it. Okay, so everyone tomorrow prepare for an onslaught of the hashtag when will it end by practically everyone on Twitter who has a marginal interest even in poker. Seriously, we're going to be swamped, okay? Everyone's going to be doing the when will it end. Okay. Oh, silly me. See, when you're on Twitter as much as I am, you get sensitive to these sorts of things. Gentlemen, what a tournament this was. Please, Eric, your final thoughts.
It was a lot of fun. It's actually a much bigger bind than I'm used to playing, but it was a lot of fun, and I wish I would have ran better. That's
What did we see from Jason here? I mean, in what position did he enter the final table, and was his triumph, pretty much spelled out in the beginning, or what challenges did he have to overcome on the way to this victory?
And I guess I'm going to ask that to Zach.
Careful.
Obviously, Zach is not ready to
Stay
No, so Eric, you're the one I guess I was referring to.
About what Jason had to overcome?
Yeah.
It's a tough final table. Like, you just... on a final table like that, everybody's gonna play well. So you just have... a lot of it is just, like Ben was talking about, just the randomness and getting the cards when you need the cards. And, I mean, nobody on the planet is better than Jason.
Ben, do you want to follow up on that?
I mean, Scott Seiver, who I thought was probably the best overall player at the final table, and he had like 3,000 chips and was the chip leader and just poof went to 6th after a bad run of cards. I mean, Jason Mercier got that out of the way, and then, But yeah, I mean, I thought it was a pretty strong final table overall. I didn't get to watch most of it after, but I mean, it's a great event. I mean, we were, in the 5th and 6th hour, there was still a lot of play. It's a great tournament, and like the field is really strong, and it's all, legends and heroes. I'm looking at the lobby, and everyone I have, like a super good at poker color on, and it's a great event, and I mean, look forward to the scoop version of it and playing it again next year. Really happy to cash in it. I'm really happy myself to get the monkey off my back after bubbling the 50K this summer. It just feels really, really good, And I wasn't gonna make ridiculous folds on the bubble or anything, but it feels really good to cash it. All the people who had my action then and continue to, I don't know whether they're rich or stupid or both, and just continue to throw money at me and willing to buy my action, and it feels really good to reward them with a good score. I'm really glad that I'm still in the main event tomorrow. So, I was going to take a vacation starting tomorrow, but, looks like we have more work to do, and looking forward to that.
Take a vacation, it just probably wouldn't be a great idea.
Yeah.
We're on the money. Sweet.
Oh, no. Marco, you remember your friend Mukari?
No way.
What?
Do you remember your friend Mukari who took down a WCOOP earlier?
Yes, the Iranian assassin.
He's second in the main event at the minute.
Oh wow, that's awesome! I can't wait to watch that. I would like to intervene and say thank you so much to all of our great commentators this evening, and I would like to invite our chatters, the people listening to express their gratitude as well, preferably via Twitter. You're also encouraged to follow these great men. At Eric Crain. Eric, thanks so much. We really enjoyed having you. I hope you had as good of a time being here as much as we had having you on.
A lot of fun. Thank you, Marco, for popping my cherry.
She said that.
Yes, I enjoyed it. But you're a beast at this sort of thing. And Eric, you really impressed me. I had never heard you commentate, so I'm very, very pleased. And you know what? The WCOOP is almost over, but let's have you on again and talk some poker. What do you think?
Time, my man.
That's wonderful. And good luck in the main. Are you still in? I hope that you are. I don't want to misspeak.
The 15. I'm 30 chips with 106 left, I think.
That's wonderful. Good luck in tomorrow's main. Ben, you are in the main as well, yes?
Yes.
That's awesome. Ben, listen, thanks so much for stopping by this evening. We appreciated you detilting a little bit and begrudgingly joining us on this panel to keep us company. It was great.
It was good being here. I'm glad. I feel a little exhausted and don't feel as eloquent as I was last time, but I was good to be here and provide a little insight. It was a lot of fun. Hopefully we'll have more opportunities to do it, and maybe tomorrow.
Sure. Listen, you guys know where to find us. You know how to get in touch with us, and you know where to listen to us. And you can follow Ben on Twitter at Professor Ben, all one word. Ben, best wishes to you, dear. Be safe down there in Mexico, and let's keep in touch.
Will do. Thanks for having me on. Have a good night, guys.
Sayonara. No, damn it. That is Japanese, I think. How do you say goodbye in Spanish?
Just say buenas noches, good night.
Oh, you're still here, Ben. Oh, wow. Buenas noches. That's good.
Noches. Yeah.
Buenas noches. Buenas tardes.
Good luck tomorrow, Ben.
No? Buenas tardes is good. Oh, screw me. All right, bye, Ben. And Benny.
Yes.
And Benny, I'm thankful to you as well. You came here. You did me a great solid by volunteering your inquisitive services, and you kept the conversation going fairly well, I thought. So I'd like to give you a B-.
Oh. Right.
B- is a passing grade. That's an inappropriate soundbite. Benny, I like you, but Benny, you know I'm trying to breed you.
To be fair, it's nearly 8 a.m.
I understand that. But
Benny, you did a great job. Good job, Benny.
Yeah.
Cheers, Zach.
Benny, you're cool.
Go
to sleep.
Get some sleep. Yeah, go to sleep.
Yes, will do.
Hit the showers, as Chu would say.
Yeah.
Thanks, Benny. See you tomorrow.
Yeah, sounds good. All right, cheers, guys.
Later today.
All that too, yeah. All right.
It's just turning to tomorrow for us. Good night, Benny.